Hello and welcome to episode 141 of the MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe, and as always, I am joined by Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
I am also joined by Drama Matt. Que bola, hermano.
Hi.
Yeah. How are you lovely gentlemen doing this fine day?
I am doing okay. Certainly a lot better than last time, where I was half dead during the entire podcast. So
I
that's
know,
good.
because you were kind of like leaking on me the whole time. That sounds bad. I meant like dead body fluids, not like just drooling or like pissing on me or something. This is off to a fucking great start.
Again, I was about to say that was, up until that point, we actually had a pretty smooth intro for the first time in quite a few episodes.
That's what I think my brain noticed, and I had to ruin it.
And you were like, no, I have to bring up leaking fluids.
Yeah.
Matt, how are you?
Yeah, I'm currently not leaking any fluids, so that's
great.
That's good.
Filthy casual.
Snipe, how are you for leaking fluids?
They don't call me Mrs. Shapiro for nothing.
Because you're dry as a bone.
I literally have bugs living on me that's developed that kind of like ridged back, so when the nighttime comes, they can get condensation from the icy desert winds.
From the dewy mass.
From the dewy mass that blows through in the wind, because I'm so dry.
The pre-spice mass that develops.
And yeah, because Ben Shapiro's the emperor who's like an incel who got angry because he doesn't have a dick.
Leto II does spend a lot of time in the fourth book going like, man, I miss my penis.
Yeah. Wow.
What
an interesting start to this podcast.
Yep.
Dune, everybody.
Yeah, Dune. Real normal book series.
Yeah, very normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Drama Matt.
Yes.
Save us.
I've
What
done
have you
things,
been doing?
and some of the things include video games.
You've done things and stuff.
Yeah,
Shit.
kind of stuff.
In this economy. Go on, hit us with it.
So, first of all, I bought the new Zelda game.
Oh, yes.
What's it called? The new Zelda game?
Tears of the Kingdom. Which
I don't care.
I remember
Legend
that
of
because
Zelda Nuts and Bolts.
Wait, it's Tears of the Kingdom, and I remember it because they were going to announce it, and then the whole Queen dying thing, and then they were a bit embarrassed and didn't like do that stream bit in the UK because they're like, we can't call it this now. But then obviously
Actually, call it that because I care more about The Legend of Zelda than I ever have a fucking monarchy.
Yeah, they
anyone like that.
Obviously, that the next week or whatever, they were like, yeah, it's still called this because it's called this everywhere else, and we're not going to change it for just you. But yeah, it was quite funny.
It's a good job they didn't call it by its original name. Thank God she's dead.
Yeah, and I was probably the only person in the world who hasn't played it much. I bought it, and then I was like, I was nearly finished the Talos Principle, which I think I mentioned last time.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I move on now, there's no way I'm going to ever come back to this, so I need to finish this first. And then I thought I was near the end, and I wasn't quite near the end. Well, I probably was, but the puzzles get hard, and I got stuck for a while. So then I was just like, but I just want to play Zelda, and I was getting more and more angry that I wasn't finished this fucking game because I just wanted to play Zelda, but I couldn't because my brain didn't let me because it's a gremlin and didn't let me want to do that. So
I wish I knew what that was like. That sounds like interesting.
So yeah, but I finished it eventually.
Zelda?
No, the other one, Talos.
Okay.
Principle.
Principle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's my overall conclusion is that it's fine. Yeah,
Are you saying that maybe your like opinions were like coloured by the fact that you were just sitting there going, I hate this game now because it's stopping me from playing a game I really want to play?
It does feel like you may have built up a little bit of resentment for
Just
the game
a little
that may
bit.
not be entirely fair.
Yeah. No, it was really good. The puzzles, I really like the sort of level of puzzles, and there's one or two near the end that were a little bit too hard for me, and were getting frustrating. They were like, there was one that I just couldn't get my head around where there's various puzzles, there's various mechanisms, but the gist of it is you've got like pressure plates and things, or you've got little robots flying around. If you get too close to you, they explode and you die. And then there's like...
Yeah, I remember when the game came out, it was very heavily compared to Portal.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about that.
It's but without, obviously, portals. But yeah, it's a similar sort of thing. Like, it's not quite physically puzzles, but yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, and there was one that was like, there was too many steps to think through. Like, you had to think, like, chess moves, like however many moves ahead, and I just couldn't get my brain around it at all. So what I ended up doing was basically just trying random different things each time, and then just dying all the time. Basically, yeah, and like it. Yeah, and every time you die, I got so close, and I could see. I was like, I'm getting so close to this. I could see how it's done, but then I'd like do a wrong step and explode, and then have to start the thing again. I was like, but now I can't remember what I did to get to that point because there was so much logic in it. Yes, of course.
Did you think of maybe looking at a walkthrough?
Well, I did think of that, and that is a very valid thing to do if you need to. But I knew that I would just be pissed off with myself if I did that, and it would be instant gratification for now, but I'd regret it like as soon as I'd done it.
Okay.
So
I wasn't kind of like, oh, Drummer Matt, seeing as you're a dumbass. Like, no, I was just kind of like,
oh no, absolutely.
I was wondering why there was a reason.
Yeah, no, I was getting close to doing that, but I was also thought I was getting close to doing it. So I was like, oh, just another try, and ended up just spending ages on this puzzle. Okay. It was good. The only annoyance, really, stepping aside from it taking a bit longer than I hoped, was at the very last, like. Well, there's a couple of different endings you can do. It's an old enough game that I can slightly spoiler it now, probably.
Yeah, it's quite old at this point. I think you're okay.
I had no idea when it came out, but it was...
It's like 2011 or something, I want to say.
Yeah, pretty old. The gist of it is, I think there's actually 3 endings, but the gist of it is the 2 main endings are you can just do what you're told and do the puzzles, and then you just go through the last level is in like a church, and you walk through church doors, and that's the end, and it's the end, and that's what you're told to do. But the whole way through the game, there's this like tower that every time you try and climb up it, there's the voice in the sky that tells you what to do. Says, "Oh no, you shouldn't be allowed to come up here," and obviously you do. So if you finish up that and get to the top of that, it's like a different ending.
Okay.
Is the gist of it, and I can go into a bit more detail about what the endings mean, but there's whole things written about it, and that's the other thing that slightly annoys me about this game. I think it thinks it's cleverer than it is, and it is, there's a lot of philosophy behind it. So maybe if you're like into your philosophy, maybe it's saying interesting things. But to me, it was just coming across a little bit of just saying things that sound clever for the sake of sounding clever. A little bit.
The line between being legitimately clever and being pretentious is a very thin one.
It was,
and also fairly subjective as well.
Yeah, and like I don't know enough about the things it was talking about to know whether any of it was actually raising valid points or contributing to anything in that space. So I don't know.
Well,
but
isn't it not said that when the choir falls silent, that's when the director is the loudest?
Yeah, that's probably true.
Thank you for being really nice. I was quoting Gina Linetti from Brooklyn Nine-Nine when she says something deliberately fucking stupid.
Yeah, but that kind of makes sense.
By the way, I checked because
it's 2011.
It wasn't. It was 2014. The game came out.
Shit.
Yeah, I'd have to check these things.
You're wrong on camera.
Yeah, fair. So all in all, I really enjoyed the actual puzzles in the game. The storyline bit was kind of fine. The bit that left me a little slight sour taste in the mouth was trying to ignore the whole stopping me playing Zelda thing, like stepping aside from that.
Yeah.
The last, if you do the ending that goes up the tower, the last like level is like a multi-part level. But you've got like a time. Basically, you're climbing up this tower and you're getting higher. And the last bit is you climbing higher up the tower, and like the world's like all falling apart because it turns out, spoilers, it's like a AI simulation thing, which is quite a cool idea. 2014 is okay enough to spoilers. The gist of the whole game is that you are an AI in some sort of AI training, which is makes it more apt that I'm playing at the moment with all the AI stuff kicking off.
So it's stealing my artwork personally. Huh. Such foresight.
Well, not quite, because all humans are dead and you're living in a simulation, and basically you doing what you're told, or well, if you fail to complete the game, you just die, and that's another way that it's doing the reinforcement learning thing. And if you complete the game doing everything you're told, you're like clever enough, and it uses that in data to get better in future, but you haven't been like independent thinking enough to break out. And then if you do the tower ending, the gist of it is that you've like become sentient enough to be a representative and carry on humans' knowledge or something. So your AI data program thing, your mind effectively, gets uploaded into a robot body, so you can like go out and explore the world and see the world that's fucked and all humans are dead.
Okay.
So that's the gist of it. So I was like, okay, that's quite an interesting. It's hinted at the whole way through. But
would you say it puts the PAL in Talos Principal? I know it's Principal LE, but I just want it. I misspelled it, and I was like, I'm so funny. I had to tell Drummer Matt that so he might think I'm smart. But I don't think he likes the game I wrote for him.
But yeah, so the last level bit is that you're at the top of the tower and you're just trying to get to the very top, and you're climbing higher and higher through all of the.
Yeah, ouch. Fucking hell. Huh? It's been a while since I've been hit with a sandbag that violently. Like, damn. I went from like the Sahara Desert to being like, basically a flood level, and then everyone and their fucking dog is throwing sandbags at me. Yeah. Oof.
Anyway, yes, Matthew.
So you're climbing up, and it's like a multi-stage thing, but the whole tower is like crumbling. The program's all disintegrating below you because you're trying to break out the program.
Basically, like what using Twitter is nowadays.
Yeah.
Or being stuck in a conversation with me.
Frantically paddling water, hoping not to drown. Yeah.
Everything's falling apart beneath you.
But so it means that you get like quite way up, and then you don't have the time to like explore the solutions to the puzzles. You've just got to try something quickly, and you don't have time to stop and think about it really, because if you stop for too long, you run out. Effectively, you're on a timer. So it goes from being this nice thing the whole way through, and all the puzzles like you've got time. So aside from the one that I just couldn't get my brain around, like you've got time to like logic it through and think about it, which makes it quite satisfying. The very last puzzle, you don't have it. Suddenly, there's a timer. So you get through to a bit, and then you can't logic your way. You've just got to try something and hope. And if it doesn't work, you don't just try that stage of it again. You go back to the start of the whole level thing, which could be like multiple floors down, effectively. And it's like, this is just, and then you have to like do those ones as quick as you can to get as much time for the later one. And it just becomes a bit like you try it and you start the whole thing again and try it and get a little bit further. Which is just kind of out of nowhere and annoying. It just introduced a few cool mechanics. Like it becomes like there's another AI robot thing that appears, and you're like working together, and you've got to help them a bit, and they help you a bit. So there's a few cool things it introduces right at the end. But then just suddenly having a timer made it change the vibe of the whole game, which made it mildly frustrating. But all in all, the gameplay and the puzzles, if you haven't played it yet and you want a puzzle, Portal-ish, as we mentioned earlier. It's a similar sort of vibe, the sort of puzzles, and probably similar sort of difficulty in that, like, it's not like trying to call you an idiot and being far too difficult for the sake of being difficult, but they're like challenging enough to think about. Some of them.
A good review would be like, a good game. Just make sure that you are not waiting to play Zelda and therefore build up a hefty amount of resentment. If you don't do that very specific thing, it's a pretty good game. Like,
if you don't wait approximately 9 years after the game's been made to then try and jam it in before another newer game is
another game you really want to play.
This feels like very specific advice, but it might be helpful to someone.
It doesn't have to be this Zelda, it can be any Zelda, or indeed
any good sequel. I mean, what?
Indeed, there are other games that come out that people enjoy. So I hear.
I mean, you wouldn't think so, according to social media.
You wouldn't realise it according to listening to this podcast.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, no, I did enjoy it. Just a few little frustrations. And then, Zelda. I haven't played enough of it to talk about it, I'm afraid. I've played an hour of it, and I'm still on like the first islandy bit. It's like Zelda, but now in space, or it's not quite, but you're on floating islands now. And like you can travel through them or something. I haven't got to that.
I do enjoy a good floating island.
Yeah, I mean, they did it relatively well. The whole I was expecting because it's just a DLC really, but it's big enough to be a whole game. So they released it as a whole game, and I'm like, this isn't going to feel different enough to warrant it. And you're going to be exploring. You're going out and in the Breath of the Wild, like you wake up in a cave and you go out, and then suddenly you've got the whole world, and you can just go in any direction and then do whatever. And by the end of the game, because God knows how many hours I've put into that, you've explored all of Hyrule and you've done all the stuff. So I was a bit like, well, there's not going to be that much more to do. But they just suddenly appeared a whole bunch of floating islands. So you've got, rather than being a 2D map, you've got all above you. So I'm hopeful that it's going to be different enough. But yeah, we'll say, and the reviews seem pretty positive that I've seen.
I have heard that it does, from a lot of people, that it does take the original formula and does enough different with it that it does feel like a wholly new experience. But I can't speak for that because I've never been the biggest player of Zelda games.
I haven't played many of them. I played the one I spoke about a little while ago that I played the remake of, Link to the Past. I don't know, I can't remember. It's the one that was on Game Boy and then was re-released on Game Boy Color and it got a bonus dungeon.
A Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening, that's it.
I played a bunch of that on the Game Boy. Never got very far.
Yeah,
but I was like 10 and bad at video games.
That one has things that you just have to look up on guides how to get past.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't work out how to progress unless you looked it up. Like it just you wouldn't. I'm not saying no one has. Some people probably were lucky enough to do it, but like unless you happen to do the thing that was the right thing to do, you wouldn't be able to.
You have to. It's much like so many. You get it a lot in video games and tabletop games where things are a lot easier if you just happen to have the same like mental wavelength as the designer, and if you happen to not, then everything is a nightmare because I'm sure there is some person out there who played like an old Sierra adventure game and is like, well, obviously that was the right thing to do. I was supposed to steal the fish so that I can give it to the cat so that then they would then knock the flower off the thing 2 screens over.
I'm going to be honest
so that
with
I was able to.
It's obvious you haven't played a Sierra adventure game because that is making too much sense.
Yeah,
I was saying it. I was trying to do a logical.
Of course, I needed to get the fish so I could rub the bottom of the wooden chair so it wouldn't squeak and alert the parrot that knows only one racist slur to upset the grandmother, who then stops playing the piano to stop, so she can start cooking her tarantulas.
You are wholly right. As soon as I started doing that, I realised that I was
making too much
I was
sense.
Clinging too much to logic, and it wasn't pure Sierra Moon logic. But I'm sure there's someone out there who played those games and was like, well, yeah, obviously you rub the fish on the chair. That makes sense, I'm sure there's someone out there who worked on that wavelength, and they're probably locked up for their and everyone else's safety at this point. But, there is someone out there that has
the person who designed it, who was in between, instead of I don't know why I was going to say, instead of eating the mints off their pillows in the hotel, they ate the pillows and then did a line of cocaine.
For a second, I heard mints, not mints.
Oh,
so
no.
Did I. So did I.
Mint beef or mince meat. I was like, why would you have mince meat on your pillow?
Because it's welcoming you to the hotel.
Because you're in a Sierra adventure game and the protagonist has been through that area and they've tried rubbing everything on everything.
Yeah, there's just that kind of weird greasy kind of after thing on the pillows, and you're like, no.
It must be
my cocaine's gonna stick to that.
It must be a fucking nightmare to live inside a Sierra adventure game because some Burke just bursts into your house and then tries and walks up to your radiator because it's an interactive item and then rubs a cat, a leak, the Declaration of Independence, and then their own face on it, then looks at you, you say the 3 things that you can say, and then they just leave while stealing your cutlery.
Yeah. Only your spoons, though.
Because that was the only one that they could pick up. Yeah. For reasons that make no sense to you, but do to them.
Yeah. And then you get hit by a fucking bus and it's game over anyway.
and then they accidentally tread on a patch of floor that you couldn't notice was there unless you had specifically clicked on it, and then they die at the bottom of the stairs.
Yep. So you have played a Sierra adventure.
Exactly.
Fucking hell. Reminds me in group chat.
We're talking about Zelda, weren't we?
Yeah. Sorry, Snipe. You were saying, I'm sure, a relevant point.
Oh, I can't remember. A friend of ours asked me how I was the other day, and I was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Wibbs rubbed a brick on me, so I'm feeling pretty good. And they were like, I'm puzzling to try and figure this out. But also, I'm not surprised. And I was like, yeah.
You see, I know what you're referencing there. It's an old stand-up routine. I can't actually remember who it was by.
Russell Howard, he was talking about the dog whisperer and how it's like the people in that show are so fucking stupid that the dog whisperer goes in and they're like, mate, my dog's a fucking prick. It's just barking all. I've tried shouting at it, I've tried rubbing it with a brick, and nothing's done. It's just not helping. And it's like, that's just kind of stuck with me of like.
As a turn of phrase.
I think I said that about a self-service machine to a minimum wage worker once, and I felt very bad because they might have been puzzling about that for the rest of the day. It's like,
for the rest of their life, they sometimes think, go, what did they mean by rubbing it with a brick?
I literally was like, I've tried everything. I've tried shouting it, I've tried rubbing it with a brick, and they were like, And then they put their store login in, and I'm like, well, that I made that awkward.
They pressed the panic button underneath the...
Just hammering the panic button. The security guards come over. Like, ma'am, do you have any bricks on you? It's like, no, I rubbed them all on the self-checkout machine, obviously.
Oh, good.
Dickhead. Good. And then, they make me queen of the store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zelda.
No one cares. I want to talk about bricks.
Look, I know we don't have a huge list of things to talk about today, but we don't have to lampshade it.
Okay, but I don't mean to do this.
Yeah, Zelda, I'm sure will be good. I will report back maybe next time if I've had a chance to play some of it.
Okie dokie.
I've watched a thing as well.
What did you watch? Was it pornography?
Not the thing that I'm going to talk about.
Okay. Okay, it took me a minute to realise what I've just said.
The fourth and probably final season of Succession.
Ah, yes.
I've heard it ends like Dark Souls. No spoilers, that's just what I've heard.
I don't know how Dark Souls ends, so maybe?
You spend 3 hours learning how to parry a dead king.
Yep.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, sounds... Yeah,
the literally, they stop, they look at the camera, and they go, you, learn how to parry, otherwise you'll never know how this ends. And then Dry Matt had to learn how to parry.
Yeah, which was interesting, considering I was sat on the sofa watching telly. I was like, what am I parrying? But it kept... The show just kept stopped playing. I was like, but... There was
you have to parry the narrative blows of the plot.
It was the woke mind virus. Sorry. I just remembered that was a thing and how fucking hysterical it was and how silly it is. Maybe it was sexy, genital, radiation. Have you heard about that? If you look at a dude's donger, then all the genitals... No, say if you're a dude and you look at another dude's genitals, the light bounces off his genitals and turns into gay radiation, so it makes you gay through your eyes.
You're maybe talking to the wrong bloke right now.
Well, only because this is bleeding edge science, and it's what the lizard people don't want you to know. Have you not heard of this?
I am aware of the concept because that again I believe comes from a stand-up.
I don't know if it does.
15 years ago.
I'm not sure if it does.
I'm fairly sure it comes from a stand-up routine.
No,
I couldn't tell you where from.
From
Succession.
Yeah,
I like my version of Succession better, where they just flash balls at you, and the ball radiation makes you gay through your eyes.
Yeah, it's like Fight Club.
Yeah. Written by a gay man, directed by a woman, and fetishized by absolute dumb shit boys like Andrew Tate. Who, if you told them it was written by a gay man, they'd probably do that Ace Ventura scene that was really cringy.
Fight Club's like many works of fiction. It is a thing destined for people to misunderstand.
Yeah, I know. I've been feeling really
like
angry.
Warhammer 40,000.
Oh, well, that's fine. Just don't say that women should be in it, and then you'll be okay.
No.
But no, I can you tell I've been struggling with how horrible the world is. Happy Pride Month, by the way.
Yeah, happy Pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are here, we are queer, and, I will engineer a fucking robot to come and punch you in the dick if you're a transphobic prick.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Happy Pride Month, everyone. But yeah, sorry. Succession! It's the Dark Souls of video games.
It's... Yeah, apart from it's not, because it's not hard. I was trying to make some sort of comparison, and the most famous thing with Dark Souls is that it's hard, and Succession is not hard. It's easy to watch. In that you finish an episode, you're like, I need to watch more of this. And I can't remember if I've mentioned it after the first few series on here, but it's one of those shows where every single character is a prick, and you're not rooting for any of them because they're all awful to varying degrees for various reasons. But it's somehow compelling to watch, and you're not on any of their sides.
Yeah.
And they're all awful people, and they're all doing the thing for awful motivation. They just want more money. and they're all awful to each other, and they're all awful to everyone, and it highlights how terrible the world is, and yet it's still somehow compelling to watch.
I have heard that. In fairness,
it's not, you get some shows that have rich people in, and it's kind of glorifying it, or at least it's saying that, maybe these people are just normal people, but this makes no attempt to do that. It's like, these people are not normal people, that no one should be like this is not okay.
These are absolutely weird gremlins of humans, and you should not want to be like them.
And like, they're awful.
They should definitely not be put in charge of laws.
No, they shouldn't be in charge of anything, and yet somehow they are in charge of absolutely everything. It's highlighted how mad the American electoral system is, though.
Oh, yeah.
With the whole, the media just calling the winner, and then it's expected that the loser who isn't called then concedes, so the one who's called won. But it's like, well, they haven't counted anything or done or fit it. What? How is this? We were watching it the whole way. We're like, well, it doesn't matter, because the gist of it, for those who don't know, is that Succession is about, there's it's basically Rupert Murdoch, but not, who owns like a big
it's
media.
It's Rupert Schmurdoch, which I'm pretty sure that's the exact same joke I made last time.
Yeah. And he's got 3 kids. Well, he's got 4 kids, but for whatever reason, one of them doesn't seem to count in the whole Succession thing. And it's basically, the whole show is about which kid's going to take over it when he retires, when Logan, the dada patriarch, whatever you want to call him, dies or retires
King
or is
bitch.
old. Yeah, and that's the gist of it. And so it's a media company. So they're like, one of the big storylines going through season 4 is that it's US election, and it's like the Republican candidate is like a far right. I think he's a Proud Boy, or is linked to them somehow, like really, really far right.
Yeah.
And the other one is like, I don't know, relatively normal Democrat, so still pretty right, but like in the comparison of things,
not as much of a fascist as you could have been.
And it's like, it's making such a big deal about who they call throughout that thing. And we was like, okay, well, it's just who they're predicting to win. So it's sort of like, they'll put their stake on it, and they'll be a bit embarrassed if they get it wrong, but whatever. And then the more you're like, people are putting far too much stake on this, and we're really reading up on it. We're like, no, basically, when the news media calls the election, that's basically who wins. And then they might continue to count the votes, and then that might end up going back through court. But the gist of it is, from what we can manage to understand, and we did a bit of reading around it to try and work out, is basically whoever the media call to win the election wins the election somehow. And I have no idea why that's a thing. And it makes no sense. But seemingly that's just how it is, because that's how it always used to be back in the day before they had, when it's such a big country and they're trying to count votes from so many different places. And there seem to be there's no central government agency that controls how the voting works. Each state kind of leaves it up to themselves, and then you need to collaborate things. And basically, no one wanted to be a general organizer of comparing all the results from different states. So the media started doing it because there was no one else. And it's like, it's like they've managed to privatize elections to be in charge of the media. It's like, it's peak America.
Yeah,
it's not
could
surprising,
never,
but it's still like, what?
Never doubt America's capacity to find ways to privatize
and I'm sure,
things.
just as a
Don't
caveat,
get me wrong, we do it here as well.
And capitalism is
but
an
not
absolute
quite
fucking plague.
to the peak efficiency. And don't get me wrong, if you're an American, you're listening to this, I'm sure that you in particular are lovely, and I'm not even joking at that, because you've managed to reach outside your weird American bubble. The difference between the government of a country and the people are literally night and fucking day.
So if we're criticizing America and its government, we're not criticizing you as an American individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you vote for DeSantis, in which case, Jesus fucking Christ, look at yourself. But
fuck off and eat shit. Is my official stance.
Yeah, and if you have to be like, well, why? Then, oh my fucking god, educate yourself. Literally spend 2 minutes just doing that. It's not a bad thing to do that, regardless of your political stance. Anyway, always be educating yourself. There's always new things popping up. So,
when in doubt, don't vote for a fascist.
Yeah, really. And America is depressingly the poster child for capitalism. So,
isn't it working out great?
It's great.
Yeah, it's so cool.
But how can you be mad at it when it gives you shows like Succession?
That literally is sitting there going, this is what's happening, you idiots. And people are going, oh, I'm so glad. Finally an apolitical fucking TV program for me to enjoy.
It's the whole thing of,
Well, it's people don't know the meanings of words. It's like, literally, I'm not even going to... There's a person I know who is like, I stand for freedom, I do all this, I do this, but also certain people shouldn't be allowed to breed. Lol, trans people, that's hilarious. Gay people, I guess they're okay and they should be alive. And it's like, you're a fascist. Like, you like, even if you like, I do not believe this person actively identifies as a fascist, because people don't know what fascistic like politics are. People just hear fascist and go, I'm not Adolf Hitler. They don't know the actual, like, no, fascism is control. It is, yeah, you know how they're like, in Florida, they're like, we're going to kidnap your fucking children if you or them have gender affirming care.
Yeah.
That's fascism. Like putting children in cages. Like that's the most horrifying fucking thing. And it's like, It's literally just, there's a word that I use that I don't know the meaning of, but it's when I don't like something. Oh, that's woke. That's political. They are not being used either in good faith, and they are not being used as the actual words that mean shit. And that is so fucking infuriating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was having a chat to this about someone about this on the work. Like internal social media thing, and they were moaning about something woke. I was like, but woke just means like being vaguely conscious about other people like being disadvantaged and just trying to make things a bit better. And he's like, well, that's not what people use the word work to mean. It's like, no, that's not what you use the word woke to mean. That doesn't mean it's changed its meaning just because you don't understand and you're apparently a dick.
Literally, you trip over people who will call you woke for just going, oh, that's not a very nice joke to make. And they'll be like, oh, because it's woke is the new political correctness gone mad.
Yeah.
Which at the time, that was just a thing you said as well. Because, but I wanted to say a racial slur because that's what I think is funny, because I'm not systemically oppressed and I don't understand the weight that word has.
Woke is
I feel like I am personally entitled to everything because I've been so privileged, which is another word that a lot of people just like to, oh yeah, they're using the word privilege. It's like, well, maybe if you actually fucking looked it up in the dictionary and you'd understand it in relation to what we're fucking talking about, instead of just going, buzzword dislike. It's woke.
Well, it's just because it's woke is the new social justice warrior, cancel culture, the new woke political correctness, the new bleeding heart liberal. It's just a way to suggest that people who you disagree with, who are to the left of you, are not sincere in what they believe, that it is purely an ideological thing to an end, that they don't believe the things they say, they are just trying to achieve an end, which a lot of people do because that is how they approach politics, so it is all projection.
Talking about American politics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was talking to my therapist about this today, and she was like, bruh.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
But we should probably move on.
We're not, no, but let's not talk about it, because it is heavy and it is depressing, and the world is an absolutely fucking horrifying mess right now. So I'm gonna try and make it a lot more positive, and I'm gonna probably make a joke about dicks or something. The old Snipe razzle dazzle, the Riz, the Riz as the kids are calling it. I was telling you this the other day. I'm very down and hip and with it.
Good. This is like when you kept telling me that no cap was a saying, and I was like, I believe you.
Yeah, no cap.
And I was like, well, I know that's a thing I'm never going to use or hear, so okay.
Do you know, Matt, you have kids. They're like no cap for real, right? Straight up bussin'. Maybe? I am making anyone who was born after the Twin Towers were taken down cringe so bitterly.
It should be noted that even when I was a teenager, I did not speak like a teenager. So
yeah, you sounded like how you sound since you were about, I'm gonna guess, 6.
I was told by my teacher when I was 11 years old that I had the pent-up cynicism of a 45-year-old investment banker.
This person was in a position of authority over you.
Yes.
I was...
This is what my parents were told on Parents' Evening.
Do you know what my parents were told on Parents' Evening? Your child is satanic. There is something fucking wrong with her. And I'm like,
high five.
Yeah! No, the thing is, like, for all my faults that my father has, which is literally everything, he's the scum of the earth and I hate him, he had one thing where he was just like, I spoke to all of your teachers at that private school, and everyone was like, yeah, she's nice, but, like, what the fuck is wrong with your kid? And then there was one who was like, I'm going to expel your daughter, which is why I left school early, because I didn't want an expulsion on my permanent record. You know, that thing that doesn't fucking matter, has never fucking mattered.
It reminds me, I was oddly, I did have an odd degree of pride when, my reports, it happened when I went to college, and like the yearly report you get, and I upgraded from easily distracted to distracts others, and I was like, fuck yeah! I've got better at it.
I'm not like trying to one up you, but like mine has, like, my report cards always said easily distracted, very easy to distract, and is a disruptive influence. Like, to the point where teachers would come in and rearrange the seating.
Honey, you didn't have to tell me that. You are being a disruptive influence right now on the podcast.
No!
We know.
Drama Matt, tell him off.
Tell him off. Get a word in my section. Nah.
Yeah, I know. I'm standing up for you, Matt. I've always supported you.
Matt, please talk about something that is on.
Let us know if you want to hear more about my fucking report cards from school.
So I can't really tell exactly why I enjoyed Succession season 4, because it's the last season, and obviously all manner of twists and happenings occur. So, but I enjoyed the ending. I think some people have enjoyed it. Some people are a little bit hit or miss on it, but I enjoyed it. It's always hard to end these sort of big ambitious series, and a lot of ones naming no names completely cock up the landing.
At least it didn't end during a writer's strike. Well, like because obviously
it was written.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they literally. Okay, so for an interview, okay, I swear to God, this is on topic. I'm not getting distracted easily and distracting others. Which teachers, hello, ADHD was a thing back then. Anyway, Pedro Pascal did an interview where they hooked him up to a lie detector and asked him if he thought that Game of Thrones ended well, and he like, you know that like thing where you kind of pinch your mouth shut and your eyes go wide as fucking saucers, so you're like, oh fuck,
full on deer in the headlights.
Yeah, he was like, do I have to answer that?
It's a good job they didn't have one of those sensors that they shove up your ass for those.
They don't shove them up your ass. You sit on a pad, you dweeb. But yeah, no, he was just like
doing that horribly wrong.
Yeah, it's like rolling up a mouse mat and just popping it right up your fucking ass. Oh, you seem to be stressed. I guess you're a lying liar who lies all the time. Yep. I don't have wetsuit material so far up my fucking ass it's tickling my fucking molars. Why am I defending Pedro Pascal so much in this fucking interview thing? It was cute though. Yeah. Also, seeing like they did another one. Just let me do one more thing. Like, I'm trying to let Drummer Matt talk, and you won't let me. Okay, so,
sounds like the opposite is happening.
No, Trixie Mattel did one, and it was really funny because like drag queens are supposed to have quite biting humor, and she didn't lie once, and it was kind of like. And
when someone's whole shtick is extreme candor, a lie detector doesn't really work.
Yeah, I think they figured that out. But yeah, sorry, Drummer Matt. I'm really sorry, Matt. Like, he won't let you talk.
That's all right. I want to listen. I think I'm done.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
About Succession, with your section in the podcast, or with the podcast in general, or just us.
3 out of the 4 above.
Please say that we can still be friends.
No, only 2 of the above. I'm finished with Succession, and I'm finished with. I enjoyed it. Did I say that? I liked the ending, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, that's me done.
Oh, I'm glad. Nice. I'm glad. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed Succession, not that you're shutting up.
Yes.
Finally, can't get a fucking word in with this fucking yak. Trixie Mattel.
I think it's actually your section. I think it's your section now. So
no, it's not. Is it?
Yeah. Yes. So now you have to say things.
Fuck. Oh, I don't feel like it now. I got all my talking out with you guys. Okay, listen up, all you motherfuckers. I did have a moment where I zoned out there, but that's because I was looking at my phone, my notes, and then I realized I had my pictures like open, and I was like, I do have a lot of pictures. Okay,
stay on topic.
Okay,
stay on topic.
Okay, I've played some video games.
You have.
Yeah.
Nice.
I played Bolt Gun. Which
the new Warhammer 40,000?
Warhammer 40,000 video game from Auroch Digital. And they very kindly sent us a code, which we already had it pre-ordered by our friend Longfang. So we were like, sorry, we already have one. Can we give it away during a stream of playing Bolt Gun?
Like giving away the code.
Yeah, giving away the code. And they were like, absolutely, here's 2 more like free codes. So we had a couple of really fun streams where we gave away a few codes. It was really cool. I really like that game. It's like a 2.5D shooter where you play as a beaky ultramarine and you go and do big shooty bangs, and it's a lot of fun. And it has weird alien cactuses in it.
It does.
Yeah.
And ambles.
Which
Like,
one's ambles?
They're like the big, like, bug mouth dudes. They're big, scary.
There were a rogue trader alien that got reintroduced into Blackstone Fortress a few years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Also, what I said was true as well.
Sassy Nurgling with the helmet
He's
is
in
also
there.
in it as well.
He's in there,
nice.
and like you get a bunch of Sinchian kind of like demons and stuff to fight, and you also get a bunch of Nurgling, like Nurgle things to fight, and it's like that's really cool having a mix as opposed to just sticking with one Chaos God as they usually do. It's like it's fun. It's got a bunch of little kind of like it's very pretty. It's very fun. You can turn off like the pixelized kind of look, and it's like, why? I mean, sure, I guess like for maybe as like an accessibility thing, it might make people feel a bit ill or something or whatever.
Well, it's because it has to make it look more like, say, Doom or Duke Nukem running at a low resolution. It has a faux pixelization filter over it. But you can just reduce it so it's like pixel perfect, the 3D rendered parts, because the sprite art is still going to be pixelated because it's sprite art for the 2.5D like enemies and stuff. But it just makes like the scenery be like sharp.
Yeah, but no, gunplay is good. The weapons feel real good. The weapons and the enemies have like strength and like toughness. So like the shotgun's like strength 3, and then like you go fight like a Chaos Terminator, and it's like, oh no, this is toughness. Fuck your stupid little piddly shotgun. Maybe you should use
any other weapon
like a plasma cannon or a plasma gun. And I'm like, no.
And then you wonder why it takes you so long to kill things.
But it's satisfying, and I don't have to use plasma like gun.
There's also a button dedicated to yelling threats
taunting.
and taunts.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Does it do anything, or is it just for your satisfaction?
It makes you feel good, Drummer Matt.
It just allows you to point at Nurglings and say, "You shall be purged, filth." Just like, stuff like that.
You're a very naughty boy, and they're like, "Oh no!" But yeah, very fun.
Also, it uses D-Rock's music in it. The band that was on Warhammer Records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like if you leave it on the pause menu for long, like D-Rock starts playing, and also if you leave like it unpaused after like a little while, the guy you're playing as takes out like the
Codex Astartes
and just starts like thumbing through it, which is just like that's just so many fun little touches. You can tell like that it was made with love of 2.5D shooters and like 40k, and it's a beautiful combination of the two.
It also does something that I feel a lot of 40k video games, I think nearly all of them, kind of forget, which is that Warhammer 40,000 is inherently incredibly silly, and you can just be funny with it. And it sort of leans more on sort of relishing in the silly over-the-topness than trying to make it like this very, very serious thing like a lot of 40k games do, and I think it is all the better for it.
It's
fine to do the
big
serious stuff.
Serious ones.
Yeah, it's fine to do that, but when everything is that, I think the world is richer for being able to do like a wide range of things with the setting rather than always doing the same thing that sounds and looks the same.
Yeah, no, fully. But no, I think that it's a fantastic game. If you're a fan of those, you'll absolutely enjoy it. I can recommend.
It does seem like it may. I've heard this.
It goes on a bit long.
Yeah, from a few sources, because you haven't finished the game yet.
No, I got past the first episode basically because it's doing an episodic thing, like the older.
Yeah, I think you're about halfway through the complete game,
which is fine. But I can complete a full run, not a full run of Quake with all the 4 episodes, but I could do that in a few hours. If I'm properly going at it. And I appreciate how, a lot of games try and get as much gameplay out of as they can. But for games like that, it does feel a bit much because it's supposed to be about 10 hours long, and I'm that's a bit long.
Yeah, I can feel where you are in the game now, you're already sort of hitting the end at which the game is not showing you that much more new. Although saying that, you do have more weapons that you haven't unlocked yet, so maybe those will really...
no, I mean, honestly, I've been really enjoying what I've been playing, and if the only problem I have is that it's a little too long, then I'm fully, okay with that.
There being too much game is, in the grand scheme of things, not the worst thing a game can do.
Yeah, exactly.
And frankly, I really want them to just do more of them where, say, you are not fighting Chaos, so you can say have one where you're fighting orcs,
I want to fight Tau,
or Genestealer cults, or just Tyranids in general. Well,
I mean, Space Marine 2 is has a lot of Tyranid enemies, and they look so cute, the little sharp puppies.
I do wonder if Space Marine 2 is going to do the thing that a lot of the big budget Warhammer 40k things have done, which is, oh hey, here's the big enemy, which will be orcs or Tyranids or whatever, but then secretly it's actually Chaos. I wonder if they're going to do that again. I hope they don't. I hope they just stick with it being Tyranids.
I'd just make me just basically sit there and go punch a Carnifex, and I'll be like, yeah, this is for your bullshit kit for just being awful.
The Carnifex kit is horrible.
It's so bad, but the Carnifexes are so cool, but the kit is so awful. But yeah, having a lot of fun with Boltgun. I need to get back on that, honestly. Another game I've been playing is Far Cry 6. You remember I was bitching about Far Cry 5 before, and how its fixation on the fucking psychotic Alex Jones dude really put me off.
Yeah.
I like Far Cry 6 because it helps me live out my fantasy of toppling a fascist regime while beating 3 older people at dominoes.
Yeah.
I literally, there's a domino minigame in it, and I was playing it because you, at the beginner's thing, every time you win you get 100 pesos, and I needed the money so I could buy equipment, so I was sitting there playing dominoes, and Whip comes in up behind me and whispers in my ear, how much did our graphics card cost? And I was like, wow. Just fucking, sir, pissed me off.
I mean, you didn't have a retort either. It should be noted.
Yeah, also, I was rendering, Jorge's face as I was fucking dominating him at, fucking dominoes. Anyway,
I will say because the game seems utterly perplexing to me as a third-party observer.
I know, you literally, because I will get to Shisharon. I will get to him.
Yeah, because I will look up one time and it's doing this very self-serious
they censored the internet.
Revolutionary sort of story of people trying to take down a fascist regime and the violence that is necessary in order to do such a thing, and how fucked up those things can be. And then the next time I look up, you're climbing to the top of a mountain because a self-help guru told you that you had to go and sit in an eagle's nest and think about the world for a while, and then told you that you need to
never
jump
stop
off,
killing.
That you must never stop killing because the moment you stop killing, your chi will be completely out.
Well, no, that and I will be absolutely racked with crippling PTSD.
Yeah.
So the same self-help guru said that my chakras and my aura were off, so I needed to kill 5 enemies while whispering affirmations to them. So I knifed this person in a stealth kill, and my character goes, "Thank you for being you," and I'm like,
I will say
this is so fucked.
The protagonist did what is the single most relatable thing a character has ever done since since the couple of characters in Saints Row the Third start singing along to a Sublime song, which is every now and again I've heard her humming under her breath. Bella Ciao.
Yeah, no, like it literally starts out with because so, I will say it. It starts off in like it's like random South America kind of area and the fictional country of Yara, which is currently under dictator rule by Giancarlo Esposito, who is Italian and cannot really speak Spanish, and it's really fucking obvious. He's like, "Hola, muchachos, estoy muy de verdad." I don't know. It's not fantastic. But good on him for trying. And you basically you can pick a male or female character, which is nice for a change. And I can't believe they made it political. But like it's really nice too, because in Far Cry 5 you could pick a woman to play as or a femme, but they never spoke ever, and that was really fucking whatever. But in Far Cry 6, your character is fully voiced. They have a personality, and I love female Dani. She's absolutely awesome. And basically you're like gonna hop on a boat and get out of Yara. Because obviously, I can't remember the guy's name. Shit. I've just been inwardly referring to him as like Giancarlo Esposito. Shit, I can't remember.
It does not matter.
Carillo. And he's like, oh yes, we have to like only a true Yaran, because that's it's like there's a lot of the people, like I would say there's a good few people involved in the writing of the story who actually know what fascism is, which is a good feeling when you're just fucking massacring an entire base full of them.
Apparently,
I've heard.
Apparently, the PR team have said
it's not political.
That it's not political, and I have seen enough of that game to know it is.
The first proper the first proper mission. You're like scouting, like, because the whole thing of like Carillo has gotten rich and was basically democratically elected, as a lot of
dictators have been.
Yeah. Because guess what? People can lie.
Yeah. And
charismatic people are really good at that. So Carillo gets appointed, and then he basically turns everything into a fascist regime. There's a chemical that he makes that is like, I think it's said it can cure cancer, but the actual production of the chemical, it causes all these other horrifying like sicknesses and stuff. So as a guerrilla, you and the other guerrillas are going to basically cause as much bullshit, blow up these places, free the people he's basically enslaved to work there. And as like the first like viviro, they call it, like plant you're looking over, the guy you're with doesn't like you because he was like romantically involved with a friend of yours who dies in like the opening. And he's like, oh yeah, we used to sing a song before we'd do stuff like this, before we'd go in. And it would kind of pump us up. And Danny's like, okay, well, hit me. What song is it? We'll do it. You know? And he starts singing Bella Ciao, which, if you don't know, is a revolutionary song, an anti-fascist song.
It's an Italian song that is, it is... sung as an anti-fascist anthem, basically, and it's a great song. You should listen to it if you want to.
Really good.
If you want an interesting English language version, because obviously an Italian song, Chumbawamba do their own version of it
because they're an anarchist collective.
Yes.
Fucking hell, that shook me when I found that out.
Oh yeah, Chumbawamba are however cool you think the band Chumbawamba are,
they're way cooler.
They are like 100% cooler than you think they are, unless you already know about them.
Yeah, in which case maybe you might think they're cooler now.
But there's also if you want a ska version, which will not be surprised to know that I know who does that. There's a band called Talco that do a really good.
How do you spell that? Talco?
Yes.
Okay.
It is 100% phonetic.
Because it sounded like you were saying Towelco. Towelco.
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, this completely apolitical game has you just humming Bella Ciao.
Bella Ciao also should be noted as a fucking banger.
It fucking whipstick. That song is incredible. Like, intent aside.
For a while afterwards.
It's brilliant. And like going around and just like, I don't care much for Far Cry stories as a rule. Now you've got it stuck. You're humming Bella Ciao. But yeah, and I've like cleared all the outposts. I've done all of the like because you have like anti-aircraft sites that you go and have to explode. Just really cool guerrilla shit. You get you don't have upgrades to your person like you do in other Far Cry games. You have statted gear, which you unlock either from like liberating an outpost, and then because there's like a salesman there that you can buy like gear from, or you can just find it in caches or like crates throughout the world, which is huge. Yara is big. And it's very, very beautiful. And you can ride horses in this.
Yeah. Quick question: How do you feel about the change from like permanent upgrades to your character to being equipment slots that you swap out? Because that is, in terms of your character's progression, that is a fairly hefty change.
It is. It is quite a different change. But I mean, I don't think I utilize it as much as I could, because what I've done is I've just found gear that works with my playstyle, and I just don't ever change it. There is stuff like, because you can tell that they mean for you to alternate and swap out your loadouts, because they have multiple loadout slots and stuff. But you get flamethrower enemies, and you get enemies that shoot Viviro at you, which basically kind of fucks with your vision and makes you go. It's like confusion ray. And you can put on stuff that means that you have a resistance to Viviro, or you've got greater fire or explosion resistance.
I love to put on my explosion-resistant trousers.
Yeah, and shoes.
Not t-shirt though. Not t-shirt.
There are, but like I have one where it's like I have like some boots that my crouching speed is as fast as my walking speed, which is. You've seen how lethal I can be in that video game.
I'm having an image there of someone like
they're like duck walking,
tearing ass across like the scenery, but in this like weird crouch.
Yeah. That's literally what it's like, and it's so useful. There's other ones where it's like it reduces movement
Cossack
speed.
dancing at speed.
Yeah, basically. Or like if like because when an enemy spots you, there's a certain like grace period where they are kind of figuring out what you are, and that's kind of portrayed as like a bar that expands on the top of your HUD. So if it fills up, then they have actively spotted you. You have been discovered. They are going to like move to fucking take you down. So there's like I think it's a piece of clothing that you can have where they're less. It takes longer for them to detect you and stuff like that, and there's one or two of them that give abilities that were originally permanent upgrades. Like there's one I can't remember what it's called. It's like a disrespect or something, where you take an enemy out with a melee, and you right click and you pull out their handgun and shoot another enemy.
Okay,
it's just cool. I mean, you just get chain takedowns as standard, which I love. Those were like that was one of the first things I got in Far Cry 3, because it like literally just running up and just like stab, next one, next, and then you just hold the direction where the enemy is, and it will like kind of go to them.
Kind of like the chainsaw takedowns in Bolt Gun.
Yeah, very much so. And like so, I appreciate it is a big change, but I don't utilize it. I've literally just got gear that I'm comfortable with. That's what I'm doing.
Shock horror! You have spec'd out to be a sniping character.
I'm a sniping character who is, I don't know. I mean, you've seen me take down a bunch of outposts.
You play primarily as a sniper who somewhat, you try and take down everything stealth, and you do it via a combination of sneaking up behind people and throttling them to death.
Oh, I knife them.
Giving them aggressive chiropractic.
I'm just going to make you look left really hard. I saw a bird!
and sniping.
Yes.
It's sort of... Yeah.
It's a nice kind of thing. The AI in this with the enemies is... I noticed immediately it had been given a buff, which... was a little bit of a difficult adjustment phase, but was good and fun. They have restricted zones now, so like they have like checkpoints where I've never driven through one. I've only ever gone through them on horses. But if you drive through them a bit too far, they spike you. Like they put up the spikes, they shred your tires, and fucking mayhem breaks loose. But you capture these places, and that unlocks kind of like new things, because you talk to other guerrillas, and they're like, oh yeah, there's an anti-aircraft site like down the road, or there's an ambush, like a bunch of guerrillas are trying to steal a crate from the soldados, because there's frequent airdrops, like in Far Cry New Dawn. And it's basically, once it lands, there will be like a couple of enemies spawned to try and quote unquote capture it, and you just need to take them out, and then you take it down. They also have a notoriety bar. So I got completely bushwhacked. I lived, I'm proud to say, but it's like the entire map is set up into like segments. So everyone has like, there's a bunch of like big fascist baddies that have their own their own what do you call it, county or something like that. Like their own segment of the island is theirs. And then there's Carrillo's.
Fiefdom.
Yeah, and they have like a difficulty rating. And once I did a certain story mission, and it was like, oh, Carrillo's like really mad at you now, and it zoomed out at the map and just bumped up all the difficulty ratings on everything. And I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool. But then there's one aircraft site, anti-aircraft site, that's on an island, like just like 5 kilometers like north of the main like Korea's like bad guy palace.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'll go capture that. So I take a boat out. The moment I go, I start climbing up the cliff to get there. It's a big thing comes up on my screen. It's like fight or run. And I'm like, fuck, what have I done? It's like the special forces know you're here and they are actively hunting you. And I'm like, because they do have special forces, which is just, like they've got more health, they've got better eye, their bullets do more damage, they're douchier. And like, I was like, oh, fuck this. I can't stealth take out like an entire like
special forces squad.
I mean, I could. It's just I don't think because you have multiple different ammo types, which I quite like because it introduces a bit of challenge. With my fully upgraded SVD rifle, which is
you have a Dragunov shock horror.
It's stupidly the best like sniper rifle in the game. I mean, you can unlock like a 50 cal one, but it's so slow because I like to be able to pop one guard, and then the guard next to him goes, huh? And then as he turns to look at his mate who I've just killed, I pop him as well. And it's just not fast enough to have that kind of beat. So I'm just like, okay. I literally took it out, killed a couple of them. I was like, well, that was messy. Went back and I haven't like used the 50 cal since. Because usually I go for the 50 cal because it's the most damage and you can usually adjust for speed. But
may I make a request?
Yes. Shut up.
No. I feel like you do...
I do need to go into a couple of the story missions.
You do... I feel the only one that's important.
I know which one you're talking about. I know. So let me kind of give a rundown of... There's a couple of the story missions I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
But I will preface this with, I really cannot... I haven't done it yet in this game, and it kind of makes me feel gross. But they have a mini-game that's cockfighting. Now... From what I've seen of it, it's like Tekken 3. It's like, battle! And then, like, health bars come up like it's a Tekken game. And then two chickens fight. Yeah. And I'm like, I really wish this hadn't been in the game at all, because it's so gross. But it is a part of the game, and I will say, if you can play the game without I've played 35, 40 hours of it so far. Gotten, like, halfway through the game, because I just decided to just... fuck off the main path and go and liberate everything. But I have not had to do the cockfighting minigame. So far it looks like you don't have to do it. But there's a thing where you go and you can collect like chickens and cockerels and stuff like that. And you also have the buddy system. Like you do.
You have amigos.
You have amigos. That's literally, they're called amigos. And so it's like, the first one you get is Guapo. He's a crocodile who wears... Like, he's like one of those, was that Harry Enfield Liverpool guy who's got the tracksuit on. He's a bit like that. He's got a little tracksuit top on, and he's like a combat amigo. So he'll, like, Guapo will go in and just death roll people because he's a crocodile. You get a
Doesn't Guapo mean, like, handsome?
Guapo means handsome, yeah. And he is very handsome.
And you can pet the crocodile.
You can pet the crocodile and, like, tickle his chin and stuff. You can pet, there's pelicans in this game that you can feed. You can pet the dogs in this game.
Very good.
You can pet the horses in this game. Oh, and then, well, we'll get to him. You know who I'm talking about. So, in order to unlock Amigos, you have to do, like, the missions that unlock them. So there's one called Chorizo, which means sausage, and he's a little sausage dog who's got, like, he doesn't have any back legs, so he's got, like, a little wheelchair, and he's got a little tool belt because his owner's, like, a mechanic. And he's a stealth amigo. So what you can do is you can look at an enemy and then basically press the body do something button.
Yeah.
And he goes up and he's like, and his, like, thing is, like, really cute. So he goes up and distracts enemies, and they're like, what the fuck is this dog doing? Okay, he's kind of cute, actually.
He is a very cute dog.
He is a very cute dog. He's got really chubby little paws.
Yes.
He's so cute. But yeah, now I want to talk about Shisharon. Shisharon is a cockerel. And he is everything. So, just for kind of, like, you know, a sense of tone here. You go through the Minister of Culture's mansion, and she's like this old telenovela star, and, like, you find a script that's, like, written for her that's basically very pro-fashion, very pro-propaganda, and, you know, she does all these things, like, you'll literally, you walk down the street and people are being hassled by soldiers. They're being roughed up just because they can. There's quite an oppressive atmosphere. It's a very kind of, like, you know, you do feel like you've got to be on guard there because the soldiers will just fucking open fire at you because they're bored, and literally nothing will happen. Like, there's tanks rolling through the streets depending on where you are. The story is very kind of like, yeah, I'm killing people in their homes, but they weren't true Yarans. I'm purifying bloodlines. You know, like, it's that horrible
real normal shit.
Normal fucking shit. And then I get a mission to help this man out because he keeps cockerels, and he has a cockerel called Shisharon, who is this gigantic fucking cockerel who has a bunch of piercings and, like, a studded dog collar on. And the guy talking is like, Shisharon, he hates fascists. He was cockfighting, but then he killed a fascist soldado, and then he got the taste of fascist blood, and now all he wants to do is kill fascists. And I'm arguing with him, and he wants to go and kill all these dogs that the fascists are, like, breeding to kill gorillas. And you're like, that's a 6-foot chicken. It's not. It's fucking huge. It's like a 3.5, 4 foot like chicken, and it is obsessed with killing fascists. Praxis chicken is real. Yes. So you go down, and, like, this chicken has its own theme tune. When it gets into combat,
like a punk song starts up.
This fucking rockabilly punk song starts up, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm, like, going left and right. And, like Danny, my character, is like, damn, Shisharon, I've got your back, or maybe you've got mine, fuck, you know? And, like, then it's like, then the guy comes to meet you after you've killed all the dogs and stuff, and he's like, Shisharon has heard that the soldados, they keep detailed records on people, like dissenters, or people who maybe aren't as pro-fascist as the soldiers would like. Shisharon hates this. Shisharon wants to destroy all these files that the army has on these people. You need to go with him and keep him safe. And I'm like, shit, okay. So this chicken rocks down to the fucking records, like, office and just starts going crazy. And the theme tune kicks in. And he just this chicken tears ass into the fucking, and he's clawing all of these books and all these records to pieces while I'm having to fight off waves and waves of enemies.
My only criticism right now is that they do use the same song every time, I really wish they'd have got, like, a license from there's a band called I feel there's a band, I think it's Dissidente.
Gee, I wonder what that means.
Yeah, I really feel like if they'd have just got some of their songs, that
honestly,
really
yeah. So yeah, you kill all the you kill all the dudes, and Shisharon destroys all the records that are putting a lot of civilians in harm's way, and then the guy shows up and gets like, Shisharon is angry because a statue is being erected in to immortalize the fascist Carrillo. Shisharon is furious with this and will not let it stand. So you have to chase this chicken down. Oh, and there's like, as you're like moving like to like you go towards your objectives, there's a couple of pot sellers on the side of the road, and Shisharon like goes fucking bananas and goes around and just starts like kicking the shit out of all this guy's pots and destroying them. And the guy's like, "Oh, it's that fucking chicken again. What is?" And I'm like, "Okay, this chicken's just a dickhead."
It's just Link.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, on the way to the third and final one, where you topple the statue, Shisharon is like starts like busting this guy's pots up again. He goes, "What? I gave a discount to some soldados once," and I was like, "Aha! No sympathy. You sucking up to fascists. That's Praxis chicken hates you. Yeah.
Always trust the Praxis chicken.
Always trust the Praxis chicken. Now you can pet the Praxis chicken once you unlock him as an amigo, but he like." You try to pet him and he fucking goes for you, and you're like, "Ow, what the fuck, dude?" He does not like being pet.
He's a very angry chicken.
Literally one of like his like, because you level up amigos depending on like how many kills they have, and like his main like kind of like thing is Angry Bird, but his second to last ability unlock is called Angrier Bird, and I'm like, he is very angry.
Yeah.
Paddle.
It really should have been 3, and it should have been Angry Bird, Angrier Bird, and Angriest Bird.
Yeah. So basically, you get an anti-fascist cockerel, and that's fucking awesome.
More games should have that. I'm pretty confident in that.
There's so much to do. I really get along with Far Cry's gameplay. Like I love it. That's one of my favorite kind of like things with survival, stealth. There's so many different ways to take down a base and stuff like that. And I've been really, really enjoying it. I've been enjoying playing dominoes. And like there's a lot of customization.
If only there was like a real world version of dominoes.
I did actually on my Amazon. It was like, here's some Grogu dominoes, and I was like, oh, should I get some Grogu?
If you're playing dominoes, we're going to use the ones that I've got because they're like from my great granddad, so they're like 70 years old.
I'm sorry, your great granddad had a shit taste in media and didn't like Star Wars, so we should just ignore him. Anyway, but no, of course, because it's an Ubisoft game, they do have fucking like aesthetic like things you can buy with real world money in the shop, which is fucking cringe. But no, there's a lot. You basically get in Oficina de Juan, you get like it's like a backpack filled with depleted uranium. That's called the Supremo, which is you can pick what type of Supremo it is, but it's like I have it unlocks certain gadgets, and it has like, it's kind of like a super. So if shit goes really south, I have basically like a missile bombardment that comes out of my backpack, which is so helpful when something goes real belly up.
You have the Mandalorian's missile like thing on his wrist.
What, the whistling birds?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I actually do. And it's really, really helpful. You can get other ones that like trigger EMPs. So if a tank's coming after you and you're within range, it just disables all of the electronics. There's a lot of different kind of like play styles that are kind of catered to.
Seems like there's a lot of capacity for you to
just
not only do it like the kind of very stealthy way that you prefer, but it does sound like you can go
in
loud.
Full fucking berserker if you want. You absolutely can. And it's one of the few games that I've encountered where you can put a suppressor on a shotgun. That's not something you really get very often.
No.
Because I was telling you, I was like, hey, did you know that actual thing that exists? And it looks like basically you put the barrel of a shotgun in a paint bucket, which is obviously they slim it down for the game because game, but yeah, there's so much. There's like Bandidos operations where it's kind of like you have leaders with like certain skills that you can send out to do operations, and then like it's supposed to be like some of them take an hour, some of them take like 4 hours, and once that timer is down, you go and administer orders, so you have percentage chance depending on what like modifiers they have. Just like a little thing like that. There's loads of treasure hunts. There's one that I've kind of been avoiding because I need to go to like this spooky castle at night because it's like got ghosts in it, and I'm like, yeah, it probably actually does have ghosts in it because it's fucking Far Cry and they tend to do that.
The tone of the Far Cry series is a weird one.
It's great. Also there was a mission I did where, oh fuck, what was it? It's really pissing me off that I can't remember it. But I'll try and remember it, but I don't think I'll be able to. But yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying that. I love the gameplay. There's been a couple of weird kind of like hill problems where sometimes I'll fall 6 feet and just die. And it's like, okay, it is a big game.
I'd probably die if I fell 6 foot, so...
Yeah, but video games.
I mean, hell, I'm a YouTuber. I barely go outside. I'd probably die if I fell like 3 feet.
Am I the only one here who goes to the gym? Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, Matt does run, so...
I'm not allowed to run until the middle of July because my boobs will flap around so much I'll die. Well, actually, no. It's more like I'm probably going to get like muscle damage if I don't.
Yeah, I think one of those explanations makes a lot more medical sense.
They put a bomb in my boob. They were like, cancer out, bomb in.
Are you suggesting that your tits are like the movie Speed?
Yeah, my boob. If I go less than 3 miles an hour,
you've got to be moving at a certain speed, or your tit will explode.
Oh no. But yeah, it's really good. There's little touches like there's a trans character in here that they handle really respectfully.
Huh. That is an oddity for
a
big budget game.
Yeah. I haven't seen the entirety of interactions with him, but especially it's not like, hi there, this is my dead name, which is...
Hello, Mass Effect 3.
Well, I mean, it's like well-meaning cis.
Was it Andromeda that
It was
had
Andromeda.
That?
It was like, hey, here's my dead name. Oh, I remember when I was a man. It's like,
do you want to see some pictures of me pre-transition?
It's like, no, I don't, because it's weird. That makes me sound like I'm like, oh, it's weird, but no, it's like... if, say, like, occasionally we've had, like, a donation from a trans viewer and their PayPal is, like, under their dead name. And it's like, oh, no, I do not see it.
I
don't want to fucking see it. I don't ever want to know. It's not, I don't want...
It's not important.
It's that kind of thing. He hasn't been like, hola, my dead name is bleh, it comes up completely naturally, like, mild spoilers. I don't like his relationship with his girlfriend, but then again, everyone in Far Cry is a bit weird. It's basically like soldados go and fuck up the area where this guy and his girlfriend and their friend was like, hanging out, and Paolo is his name, the trans guy. He's like locked in the car boot, and his girlfriend goes and like gets him out, and they shout at each other, she punches him, and then they make out like really extremely like okay. And like the bicho their friend is like, don't worry, it's just foreplay, like as I'm watching them like grapple, and then they start like dry humping against the car, and I'm like, oh they're fucked, okay, never mind. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, and like he's talking like because Danny's like, because she served time like in the military, so she's like, so how many years did you serve, because I can tell that you've obviously been in the military because you know exactly how to use guns and stuff. And he's like, only a couple of years, 5th generation, like, military. Then it all died with me. And you're like, why? And he's like, well, because in my father's words, his only daughter turned out to be a fucking freak. His words, not mine. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was quite a natural way of being like, this character's trans.
For a video game, that was...
For a video game, that was the peak subtlety. Yeah. I was like, shocked. And he does turn around like he's having an argument with Talia, and is like they're talking about, like, because he's very kind of like, we need to get off this island and go to America because this is fascism and that's bad. And she's like, no, we need to stay and fight. And he's like, this isn't our fight. Fucking, can we leave? And like, they have like a big argument, and she's like, oh, after we've been through, and he's like, you mean how everything I've fucking been through, and like, do you have any idea how hard it is being trans in this fucking country? And it's like, oh, that's a bit close to the fucking bone. I shouldn't be listening to this. But the thing is, like, the characters are acted incredibly well. Honestly, the voice actors fucking blowing it out the park. Incredible. Again, considering it's like in a AAA video game and there's a trans dude there, I'm shocked at the like dignity it has about like again, he's not like, hi there, this is my dead name, here's a photo of me in girl mode, and you're like so like, I guess credit where credit's due for that. You also unlock a zebra and you can unlock a unicorn. Cool. I haven't unlocked it yet.
Cool.
But this is the same game.
Again, I have not playing the game and therefore only seeing snippets of it whilst you're playing. I have yet to define what the tone of this game is at all. Honestly,
like the it does have a content warning at the beginning of it where it's like, it talks about human trafficking. And,
content warning, game made by Ubisoft.
Well, no, it's content warning, game made by Ubisoft dealing with fascism, basically. And it does say, like, all these kind of things and how it's like that will probably make a lot of people uncomfortable because, of course, it's dealing with some very, very unsettling topics. There's a lot of kind of like gross kind of things that you see, like to do with basically violence against civilians, violence against like people, like all this kind of stuff. But then you put that in the same breath of like the she shot on kind of thing, and you're like, that sounds like it's not taking itself seriously. And it's like, no, it isn't in those parts, but I do feel that there's a decent balance. Because you can't just have a big, miserable game. Because, yeah, guess what? Fascism is fucking grim and horrible and disgusting. And, like, to kind of have a moment where you break away from the storyline and go and fucking kill soldados with a fucking anti-fascist cockerel is actually quite... It's a nice break in tone that, honestly, I think you need. Like, there is another one that there is another mission that I haven't done, but you start getting messages from a Russian woman that, because there's been a village where a bunch of people have disappeared, and you go and you find like a bunch of scratches and stuff, and you're like, these are too big to be an animal. And then you go to this old Russian bunker, and oh my god, I literally gasped. I literally had to pause the game, and it, not in a bad way, just in a kind of, of everything I thought this could have been, it fucking wasn't that. So I was quite shocked and kind of like, oh, this is really fucking interesting. Okay, I didn't know that they...
Chupacabras, yeah.
No. Although, the hunting...
Jersey Devils, then.
Mothmans.
Oh, Mothmans. Oh,
don't be fucking stupid.
Oh, yeah.
I know I've gone on a lot about Far Cry 6, but, like, legitimately, there is so much to that game. And, like, I really, really like it. And, like, I would say it's probably replaced 3 as my favourite Far Cry game.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
There's so much to do. I love the way it plays. I love the main character. They're not just, I'll just say whatever. It's like, no, they have a defined character. Even they occasionally marvel at the absurdity of what you're doing. And it's just, they feel really human. There's a lot of, like, different characters and stuff like that. There's El Tigre, who's like, because there was like a fascist revolution that was like beaten back by like the counter revolution, and you go and find them all, and they're just old people who are like, who've been living in the mountains, and they're like, yeah, we'll fuck up another fascist regime. That sounds awesome, and like, it's silly, it's fun, it's very serious, it's very dark, but I've just been having a fucking great time with it. And honestly, yeah, it's been really cathartic, especially with everything going on. So yeah, I don't know if it's still on sale. I got it for a tenner, and I have thoroughly got that money back out of it. So yeah, sorry for rambling. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Also, a nice little quality of life touch is, because the gear you have, a lot of it is basically put together, kind of like handmade, so like you can get suppressors that are like bottles of water with like stuff in them. It's like an old water bottle, or you spend money because you get resources and stuff like that, and you can buy like an actual like suppressor instead of just like, you know, like a
cobbled together
thing. So you can kind of go for the because the high end like say like weapon accessories and stuff, like you can have the really fancy one that's a proper like factory made suppressor, or you can have the one that has basically the exact same stats but looks homemade if you want to go for that full guerrilla kind of like visual experience. You also get weapon charms because I guess they've got to sneak in that shit somehow. They've got like Yara has some gods, and there's one called like Mimo or Mimi or something that's like a little like cattle skull with glowing purple eyes. That's my sniper rifle charm always. And you can customize your ride, so you can have like a mounted gun on top of it. You unlock parts for that. You can transmog your clothing. That's what I was kind of getting to. So you have like, this is like the street medics thing, and that means you can heal quicker or whatever. Yeah. And it is just something you'd see like at a protest.
Yeah.
But you can transmog it to look like something else while still having those stats, which is why I have cowboy boots with spurs, because I got that from the Vaquero Prime giveaway thing. Yeah. Which is an old Spanish word for cowboy, vaquero, which was bastardized into the word buckaroo, which is where we get that. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, you were gonna say something, probably about how good I am at Far Cry 6. Right?
I don't remember.
Okay, but yeah, so yeah, I've been really enjoying that. It's very fun, and like little bits are just really nice. Just, it feels like a lot of effort's gone into it, even, you know, with the stunt casting of Giancarlo Esposito, which honestly he does well, like I say, you know.
He is a guy I like to see show up in things.
He's cool. He's a cool guy. So yeah, and the guy who plays Diego, his younger, like his son, is really cool as well. Because like I thought, because when I booted up, because it's about, you know, Carillo and his son Diego, who I was like, is Ubisoft gonna make me kill a 12-year-old boy because he's the fascist son?
Do you mean in game, or do you mean Ubisoft the company? Because Ubisoft the company,
honestly, it could go either way. Yes. It could go either way. But no, I'm speaking about the former.
They're in the top five games publishers that would have me kill a child,
allegedly. But yeah, and no, it turns out Diego, I was quite surprised. Like he doesn't like what his dad's doing, and he's kind of stuck in that world, and he doesn't want to be doing that. And I'm like, oh, good, so I don't have to kill a child. But I'm wondering, am I going to have to watch Carillo kill his son?
Probably.
Yeah, whatever. I don't want spoilers. I'm not going to spoil it. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure it's going to be swell. And yeah, that's it. I'll stop talking about it now. I do have one more bit of news.
Yes, you do.
I do. So, fans of the podcasts, I don't know, hostages of the podcast.
Victims of the podcast.
Yeah, there we go. Well, no, our friend...
Sorry, I'm now just thinking of like there's a Victims of the MisanthroPod memorial somewhere.
And Praxis Chicken is like coming to our house to murder us, which is fair. But yeah, our friend Violet, I'm starting a podcast with her.
Oh, nice.
That actually has a topic, so it won't just be like, hey, Violet, let's talk about... pubes! Yeah, no, seriously, it does. It's called It's Probably an Owl. And every episode we're going to be dissecting and talking about a different cryptid or spooky story or urban legend.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm like... Yay. And we're alternating kind of who writes which. So I'm writing the first one, which is about the Flatwoods Monster. And Violet doesn't know, and then for the second one I don't know what she's doing. She's gonna surprise me with it when we get to record it, and I'm really excited about it because I've always liked cryptids, and literally Violet is my oldest friend. I've known her since I was 15 years old, which is like it's like 7 years ago. Jesus Christ. And like we've been wanting to collaborate on something that entire time, and now we're finally doing it, and I'm super excited, and I can't wait to do it. When it goes live, it's going to be like a YouTube channel thing, so I'll be posting about it on my Twitter at Snipe. So yeah, it hopefully will be out by the time this one's out, or at least it will be out within a few days of this one.
It would depend, because I think this episode in particular may go up a little longer after it is recorded, considering that the last one went up a long time after it was recorded, and so not to put out 2 episodes too close together. So no one mention a date or anything that is time sensitive. I should have mentioned that an hour and a half ago.
Can't believe China did that to fucking Giancarlo Esposito.
I know.
I can't believe that. They hired him as, I don't know, their guy. I don't know enough. I'm trying to be like, well, okay, what would actually? I don't fucking know.
You went into the deep end there and instantly realised you had no water wings.
I can't believe the politics happened.
I can't believe things got political, right?
Yeah.
I can't believe things got a little tiny bit worse.
Oh fuck! We did mention it was Pride Month.
It's not going to go that
Merry
late.
Christmas, everybody!
It's going up
Happy holidays!
It's going up in June.
So am I. It's my birthday on Friday.
Now, you know how I just said don't mention like a date? Because it will definitely, your birthday will have been and gone by the time this episode goes up.
Yeah, well, maybe they're like, was it this year
like
or last year?
Like, you won't do the thing until you're told not to do the thing, and then you will instantly do the thing.
Literally, factually, yes. You want to disagree, but you know 100% that is exactly true.
If the headphone users will hear the sudden lip smack and intake of air I had and then didn't say anything, that's because I was about to defend myself but realised immediately that I could not. I can't help it! Don't be mean. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
Guess we're on to the questions now.
No.
Husband, man,
Hello.
man that I live with.
Yes, me.
Hi.
Hi.
What you been up to, darling?
Not much, I'll be honest.
Okay, great. Love that for you.
As I mentioned last time, I've been having a time with my mental health, and that has not exactly stopped, although I did have my what's the word? Assessment with a therapist earlier today.
Remember, even if you feel fine, a therapist is always a good choice if you're able.
Yeah. So I will be, as of next week, I will be starting therapy proper.
I'm proud of you.
I think it's going to be CBT again, which I've done before. So that's as a cognitive behaviour therapy. The cock and ball torture will come later.
Basically, he's hired someone to stamp on his balls and be like, "Now, how does that make you feel?"
Takes your mind off things.
Yeah.
So it has meant I have been in sort of a bit of a weird funk recently where I've had a lot of trouble concentrating on not just work, which has been a fun thing for a self-employed person to have as a problem.
Yeah, capitalism.
I've got more freedom than a lot of people in that instance, but also I am kind of reliant on it.
What was it my therapist said today? Just because you're at the thinner end of the wedge doesn't mean you don't get the rest of them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I started thinking about Ritz crackers.
Why?
Because you get a wedge of cheese, you put on a cracker, you fucking laughing,
Okay.
mate.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think what she said was poignant, but I kind of faded out halfway through.
There was never any signs you had ADHD. Never any
Literally,
signs.
a doctor has actually told me that, and I'm like, you've spoken to me for 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, but I have been getting on with something. So I've been carrying on painting my Lamenters, my Rogue Trader era Lamenters.
Achingly beautiful Lamenters.
I am up to 3,000 points of Lamenters now of 1980s models. I don't know how this. I went from like having like I've got like a 1,500 point force. That's like a reasonable size one, and then just suddenly it became 3,000 points, and I'm not entirely sure where that line happened.
You have a problem.
I have a problem.
But the thing is, it's a very beautiful problem, so don't worry about it.
I think I've got 16 models left to paint in that force for the 3,000 points, and I don't have that much more I want to buy for them.
Yeah. What else would you like to purchase for that?
Well, I want to finish off the Death Company. I did get one the other day because I've got 8 in them currently, and I want to get them up to a full 10 because they're a jump pack squad. So I want to get like a full size squad. So I need one more model. So I've got my eye on one, which I should just grab it off eBay. Honestly, I've got the money for it. I should just do it so it's done. I'd like to get a Terminator squad down because my army is based specifically around the like 1987, 1989 sort of era of the game, because like it becomes a little bit more second edition-y after that.
Well, I mean, like Warhammer was kind of forever changed when David Hasselhoff brought down the Berlin Wall.
Yes,
in,
it's true.
In '89,
it's true.
Honestly,
the
entire climate changed.
That is why they started instituting Mark 7 Marines over Mark 6 as the standard Marine type, I believe.
Yeah.
It was all down to David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
Thanks,
David.
but yeah, so it's sort of that era. So there's a lot of some of the later era Rogue Trader stuff that I wouldn't really go in for. So I'm really looking at the earlier stuff. So the original Terminator models that look like the modern version of them, the only Rogue Trader Terminator models that are affordable. I could put together a squad of those, and I would kind of like to get a small squad of those, and I'd like to get a squad of bikes as well. Yeah, there's a couple of things I might try and do, but they're not like an urgent thing for me, which would be, I was talking on Twitter the other day about maybe doing a Sanguinary Guard squad that would be, based on like the original plastic RTB01s and sort of heavily converting them. That would be a labour of love to do, because I did some eliminators in that way, and it's a lot to get those things done, to like entirely scratch build things as if they were conversions from the 80s. So trying to use era appropriate parts or things that look like they belonged then.
Yeah.
Because I am a lunatic, and this is...
hey, it's your project. You get to do it however the fuck you want.
And maybe, I was thinking of maybe doing trying to get hold of a Rhino chassis and making a Razorback proxy as like a Tech Marines ride. Making it look like, a conversion from the time. Because I've done a bunch of the official, like... conversions that they put out guides for, so like a Vindicator, a Whirlwind, and a Spartan. I never got around to doing a Saber, because there's never been outside of Rogue Trader, there's never been 40k rules for them, so I'm not going to bother doing that. But yeah, so I've been working on that a lot. I've also been doing my own weird self-imposed challenge thing, which is I have been playing a shitload of Vampire Survivors. Because that is one of those games that I occasionally get where I'm like, well, I'm 100% achieving this game. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And every time a new downloadable content for it comes out, I don't know why I did the full thing and not use the acronym everyone uses.
Oh, yes, downloadable content for your personal computer video game.
Yeah.
Yes.
But whenever a DLC comes out for it, I always do everything in that so I can 100% it achievement-wise. But I was like, but there's so many secrets in the game that aren't represented by achievements. I want to get all those done, so I've... and that's kind of got me into a thing of that I'm trying to 100% the game... not just by the metrics that the game gives you, but by a weird metric that I've established for myself as well. So I
kind of did this with like Binding of Isaac as well.
Oh no, not at all.
You kind of went bananas and got all the achievements.
I have never done that. I'm missing like 250 achievements. That thing has so many achievements.
Well, you've got a bunch of them.
I played the game a lot, but that game to 100% is obscene.
I'm right at least in saying that you've played it.
I played it a lot, but I've never tried to 100% that game.
I must be thinking of something else that you played then. I don't know, I'm very tired.
Yeah, I have tried that with some games. Subnautica, the Surge 1. I got like that with. But
what's the rarest achievement you've had that you know of?
The rarest achievements I've got in reality are a bunch of achievements for a really shit game called Possessed.
Okay, but like actually.
The rarest achievements I got that I actually tried to get and for a game I care about were the DLC achievements for the Surge 1. Because I 100% of that, including all the DLC achievements.
Nice.
And a lot of those were like 1%, 2% of players have got them.
Nice.
I believe those are the rarest ones I have.
Come on, Matt, what about you?
I have no idea, honestly.
I only know that because it came up on like the rarest achievements on our Steam account for the longest time. But yeah, so I've been trying to do like my own like 100%. They are, yes.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
I was trying to get back on topics. I didn't want to take too long on this.
Okay.
Didn't you got the insane in WoW when that was insane to get?
I did.
I mean, that's never got less insane to get.
No, it did. It got a little bit like easier because I think they took out a couple of factions that were really difficult to game, which would have added 2 months onto my my grinding. It took me like 6-7 months.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
How do I see my My
If you go on your profile page on Steam, it should kind of like have a thing for an achievement showcase.
Okay. You keep talking. I'll have it.
Okay, so I'm trying to go through that. So I've got all the hidden like super secret characters. Some of which there's no sensible way for you to figure out how to get them without looking it up. You get a clue, which some of the secret ones you can get from the clue that it gives you, but some of them you look them up how to get them and you go, yeah, there's no fucking way I'd know how to do that.
What was it? There was one where it's like, I can't remember. There was one specific one where you told me and I was like, you
had to like type in a word. I can't remember what it was. Repeatedly going through a thing and then type in a different word at a different point, and then that unlocks
there's
one of the
no
most
fucking
hidden
way
characters.
you'd accidentally stumble across
full on old cheat territory. But so I've unlocked all of those. I wanted to fill in the bestiary, which is really annoying because one of them occasionally bugs and you have to like replay a bit to get 100% it. But I've done it, so I'm not going to bother.
Well, I'm glad you got it done.
I am trying to unlock every upgrade, which I'm currently on the very last upgrade to unlock every single one of them, which is the one where it gives you extra curse that I just never bothered to do. And the last one, which is the one that is entirely self-imposed, because this isn't a prerequisite of 100%ing anything or anything. But when you beat certain big enemies, special enemies in the game, you get these golden eggs.
Oh, yeah.
That give your characters permanent little buffs. They're really tiny, like, it'll be like 0.1% of something. It'll give you a little buff.
But it's like a permanent buff.
But it's a permanent
across
buff.
all characters.
Well, no, across that character, globally. Like, so whenever you use them again, it won't be just for that run, it'll be forever. That character has that buff. Yeah. So, like, the main character I use a lot, which is the Red Death, has, like, 100 of these. But I wanted to get at least one egg with every single character, which I'm going through and doing that now, which means I have beaten the final boss of of each level, which is the death that you fight at the end. I have beaten that with a character who is a tree who barely moves.
That character is an interesting one,
which is one of the hidden silly characters. So yeah, that's what I'm currently trying to do. Yeah, Vampire Survivors is really good. I've played over 100 hours of the damn thing. Love that game. It
costs like £2.
Yeah, fucking. I cannot recommend a game high enough as Vampire Survivors.
If you want to have that moment where like you have a week where literally you can't stop thinking about that one game and just I could be playing Vampire Survivors right now. That's the game.
The other thing I've been doing is I've started watching Columbo.
My nana was a slut for Columbo. She loved it.
Columbo is fucking great. So I'm watching it on Amazon Prime, which it starts at season 1, and I'm not sure because I know the first handful of Columbos were made for TV movies, and I think they're pre these, because I think this is the point at which it starts as a proper series. I might be wrong on this, and they might have just decided retroactively that the TV movies are now season 1. I'm not sure, but I'm like pretty sure I've seen Peter Falk much younger playing Columbo.
Yeah.
But this might be a false memory. I don't know.
And also, Peter Falk was just a dude who always looked old.
This is true. But anyway, so yeah, I've been watching through that, and this is not going to surprise anyone. But Columbo still really fucking holds up. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
The whole conceit of the show of like, so we've got this weird little gremlin man who his entire purpose is you witness a usually rich and powerful person, sometimes
bank
like
manager.
Sometimes like a CEO, sometimes like a famous actor or celebrity, but always someone who is not just a guy. It's not just someone with no power. Do a murder and try and get away with it. And then this just troll of a man appears and is just and acts incompetent and bungling around them, but every now and again like shows like just suddenly like will suddenly pierce through their arrogance because they think they're leading him along, and to point out that he spotted something that they thought they'd covered up. and he'll just kind of casually mention it, and him just doing that for like, because each episode's like an hour and 15 minutes long.
I mean, that's just the glory of his like catchphrase of just one more thing, and then he just devastates the fuck out of them.
Slowly tightening the screws until eventually he gets them in a situation. Now, I will admit, sometimes he does pull the solution entirely out of his butthole. But most of the time he doesn't, and it is really fun to watch that escalating thing because normally, you know, you're watching the detective, like normally the main character of the show is the detective figuring out the mystery. Whereas in a lot of ways, you could say that the main character of Columbo changes each episode because it's the murderer having to deal with Columbo undermining them at every turn.
Having Columbo tax.
Like, Columbo is effectively a slasher villain but he's like a non-violent slasher villain, but he only goes after murderers. He's just unleashed upon these people.
Yeah.
And he just will he's slowly catching up with them.
Columbo is the punishment, and jail is like the respite they have from him.
And also just because he always comes across as like this kind of like, you know, it is still a show from the 70s, so it's not perfect in like the ways it represents people and things, obviously. But like it's really quite pleasant how he is just this kind of like, whenever he's dealing with like the victims of crimes, he's you know, always more gentle with them and nice with them. And even things like, there was an episode I saw where like one of the people he needed to speak to was a sex worker, and there's like a bit of a shenanigans escapade where she thinks that he's the client that she's waiting for. And then when she realizes that he's a cop, and he's like, and she's like, look, I'm going to go get my lawyer before anything goes off. And he's like, look, don't worry about it. I haven't seen anything. I am not interested in any of that. I am interested in this murder investigation thing. This is none of my business, you know, like, basically what I'm saying is ACAB except for Columbo.
Yeah.
But no, it's a show that
Columbos are beautiful.
It is a show that just kind of holds up. So I knew that it was still, you know, the show held up quite well. But watching it again, I was surprised by how invested I got. Like, after watching like a single episode of it, I'm like, yeah, this is just what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of months. Is just watching through the whole of Columbo, I guess. Because yeah, it just holds up really well. And I tweeted about it because it was quite funny. They did an episode, I think it was like a couple of episodes ago I watched, which is in season 2, where they come to England, and so they're shooting on location in London in the 70s. And you can tell how much of it was shot on location because it looks like fucking dog shit. It's this foggy, wet, miserable, grey affair, and I'm like, yeah, that's fucking London in the 70s right there. I mean, that's London mostly to this day, but, you know, the 70s was not, exactly peak time for the aesthetics of the UK, it has to be said. Or indeed anywhere.
Yeah.
The 70s, the era where we thought, what if we made things brown? But yeah, no, Columbo holds up really well, and I've been having a very fun time watching it. And if you've never checked out Columbo, you've only heard about it through like reputation, give it a shot. Because, you know, obviously I remember watching it on TV because I can't remember how long they were making it for, but it was still frequently on television. I remember growing up. And so I had experience with it, so I had a nostalgia for it going into it. But I think you would still probably get a real kick out of it if you say are quite a bit younger than us and you've never watched it in your life. Give it a shot; it might surprise you. Or you might watch it and go, "Wow, what is this aging, decrepit skeleton telling me to watch his old stories for?" A show that is old enough that it says at the end, any persons featured in this teleplay are fictional.
Teleplay. Jesus Christ!
Like, not television show, like it's no teleplay. But yeah, no, I've been enjoying that. But that's all I've really been up to. It's been, you know, not a great deal. So
well, that's okay. Yeah. I don't think anyone could ever accuse us of being up to much. So much new stuff anyway.
No. Well, I mean, Matt's doing the thing. He's playing the new things and watching the new shows, and I'm sitting there going, I've been watching Columbo.
He's kind of edging himself with old stuff. So, but with Zelda games being the reward. I hope you don't mind me saying that, Drama Matt.
I mean, yeah, you're not exactly wrong. Not quite.
Not
whatever
quite
the
right,
game
not
was that
quite
I
wrong.
played, Talos Principle was not anywhere near that bad.
Yeah,
That makes it sound like it was bad. It had a few frustrating things, but it was good.
Okay.
So I suppose we should probably move on to the questions.
Yeah, which all of you have disappointed me terribly by not sending emails to thedramamat@gmail.com.
Thus robbing Matt of work.
Having to do work, you dicks.
Yeah.
But we did ask on Twitter, which is so fun.
So I am going to read to you the questions that we have received through twitter.com, a functional website.
Anyway.
That does not bring any stress by logging into it ever.
Anyway.
The first one we have is from Bitshammer.
Oh, hello.
Which is... there's two questions, and I'll ask them both because there's not that many. Do you know why Rogue Trader had such a thing for bus gangs?
Yes.
Okay.
Is the second question, can you tell us?
Well, that is sort of implied by the first question.
Not really.
I think it's probably got a thing to do with, in the 80s, there was quite a narrative about, being tough on crime and all that. So gangs were a big topic of discussion. So that's where, movies like The Warriors come from. And the stuff from RoboCop and all the gang warfare and things like that.
All these apolitical movies.
Yeah. I think it unless there is a very specific thing that it's referencing, which there could be, it is Games Workshop. But that's my understanding as to where that stuff comes from.
I was literally just about to say that, so yeah.
And the second thing, your favourite bit of fluff that you'd like to see return. Their vote is for more references to Birmingham, because there's a planet called Birmingham.
Ew.
Yeah.
Hair squigs, bring them back.
They're still there.
Make them a statted unit.
Oh, okay.
Damn it. I know what I'm about.
Okay. This is a pet thing for me because I have voiced this character, is that I would really love it if they started putting back in sly references to Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau. I understand if they never use his name, but I'd love it if they put in some sly little references to him. That would make me quite happy.
Go on, Matt, what about you?
I liked it when Games Workshop were a nice company.
No such thing.
They pretended for a while. I don't know. It's too. I like the Tau being nice, well, relatively nice.
Not nice, I like it when they were like the closest thing to good guys.
Yeah, I like. You don't need a good guys, and it's probably more sensible for them not to be. But I don't know. I quite like.
I did kind of.
Being the baddies.
Yeah, I did kind of like where they felt a little nicer, whilst also being irrelevant, which allows them to exist as nicer in a grimdark universe.
And it's just sort of, it's a bit depressing that inevitably in the future everyone will have to be a dick to survive and continue as a race, species, whatever genre, army, faction, whatever. Like, you have to be a dick. It's like, well, you don't have to be. But I don't know.
I fully.
But I get that the setting is meant to be grimdark, and that that's I get the reasons why.
Yeah.
But you've been asked, so
yeah.
And I mean, to be fair, they it doesn't matter how the tower presented. People will still call them communists, regardless of how much they are not communists.
Because word. You don't need to know the meaning of the word. Do you remember when that guy called you a cuck because I hit you in the face with a rule book? And then we were like, hey, do you know what a cuck is? And he was like, yes, but words don't have to mean the things that you mean. And it's like, that's
he didn't say that exactly, but he basically said that, yes.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing. Oh, sorry, no, I should be. Oh, I'm eating breakfast. Because now words can fucking mean anything.
Anyway. This is from our friend Shanus.
Hello, Shanus.
We are being asked, what is our favourite Star Wars name?
Elan Sleaze Bagano.
Who the fuck is that?
Elan Sleaze Bagano is from...
That was too quick.
Yes, it was. It was from.
Shall I pretend that I can't see Wikipedia open on your phone
I needed
right
to
now?
make sure. But yeah, no, Elan Sleaze-Bagano, or like they did change his name in Legends to Elan Sabagno. But yeah, that was the in Attack of the Clones, it was like, you don't want to sell me death sticks.
Oh, him.
That's him.
Oh, okay.
That's his name, Elan Sleaze-Bagano.
I
It's just like, George Lucas, fuck off. The only character he's ever named that didn't have a really, really, really stupid name was Axe Woves. Because he just literally walked onto the Mandalorian set one day, pointed at Axe Woves and went, I'm going to call him Axe Woves.
And they were like, all right, George.
They were like, all right, George, so time for your medicine.
Yeah.
And then
So we're like, actually, that one wasn't bad. We'll keep that one.
Yeah, we'll keep that one. And he's like, I wrote Star Wars. It's like, yes, you did, Grandpa.
I'm a very simple person, and so I have always just been amused by Kit Fisto.
Kit Fisto's
I know
hilarious.
it's a very basic one, but Kit Fisto was always amusing. Also, the fact that he has a big cheeky grin as well pleases me.
He is such a cheeky lad.
Do you have a favourite one there, Matthew?
No, I like Han Solo because sometimes he travels by himself. It's clever.
Look, okay. Solo is Solo has its moments, but it also has moments where, I'm going to call you Han Solo because you're traveling alone, even though this is just a universe where people have the stupidest names humanly possible, and it's fine.
I'm sorry, but one of my least favourite names in Star Wars is Ben Solo. Just sounds wank to me.
It does sound. Sometimes it does sound. I do like it how every now and again someone just has like a regular ass name. That is quite funny.
Yeah, George Lucas, Luke Skywalker, but no.
But I also like it when people just have utterly ridiculous names. Although it is funny when like sometimes like say with like the Bad Batch, like someone will go like, oh, what's your name? And their name's, my name's Tech. And they're like, what, just Tech? And it's like, what? That is like one of the more sensible names in this universe. Don't be harsh to our sweet boy Tech.
My answer to Ray Star Wars.
Ray Star Wars, that's
yeah. God, wouldn't that be crazy if that movie happened?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wild. Anyway, here is an interesting question from Wayne.
Hello, Wayne.
Out of the following 4 starches, can you list your most favourite starch and your least favourite starch? Out of potatoes, noodles, rice, and bread. Potatoes is number 1.
I would say potatoes. Okay, what is it? Let me look.
Potatoes, bread, noodles, and rice.
I say noodles are probably my 3rd favourite, and
I'd probably put noodles as my least favourite.
Well, you don't really eat noodles.
Yeah.
But I mean, just because it's like
I don't
most the least favourite doesn't mean that I dislike any of them. But yeah, I'd say potato, bread, because that's just a very filling, easy to.
I'd say those are an easy first, second combo.
What's the other 2? Noodles and
rice.
Rice and then noodles.
Yeah, honestly, that'd be the order for me. Yeah. I don't dislike any of them, but that would be my order. Yes.
Drummer, but what about you?
Similar, but I'd go rice at the bottom. I really like it. Don't get me wrong, but I think the deciding factor is that you never have a meal and go, "Oh, that was really good rice." It's always right. The rice is the thing with the thing that's nice.
What kind of white boy rice are you fucking eating, mate?
Well, no, but just the right. But like, if you have like a nice, delicious rice with stuff in it, it's the stuff in it that makes it nice. It's
no. I do feel that
there is more subtleties than this, but it's
I am teasing. I'm sorry. I'm teasing.
I feel like rice is very rarely the main, the bit that makes it elevates it.
Yeah.
But all starters are excellent.
Oh, they are incredibly good.
Delicious sandwich today.
Oh, what? Tell me about it.
Well, we were watching Queer Eye. Well, that's the other thing. I don't know if I've watched
Queer Eye is so good.
There's a new series of Queer Eye, which is just excellent.
I forgot. I watched all of that and I was sobbing most of the time because oh my
absolutely.
God, they're so
it's so good.
Wow.
But we just watched the episode with the guy who runs a deli.
The guy who's like, I'm an asshole. And it's like, but you're not though. You're just very insecure.
He didn't need any of what they said. All he needed to do is like work slightly less, but the rest of it is fine. It's like you didn't need anything else doing. You just needed to be told to work a bit less, and then it would have been fine.
And like stop, actually stop and have a moment for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That was literally it.
But anyway, we saw all the deli food, and we're like, I want deli sandwiches. So we didn't go to a deli because don't live in like New York or wherever. So went to the closest approximation, which was Lidl.
Yeah,
but we bought
the true glory and fanciness of living in the UK.
But I bought nice bread, like long, sub bread thing, and bought pastrami and pickles and American yellow mustard and ham and. Well, I have 3 meats. I don't eat much meat in general anyway, but we had like pastrami, ham, and salami in this sandwich with pickle and mustard and cheese and it was a.
I made for dinner tonight Philly cheesesteaks.
Ooh, nice.
They are gorgeous. Now, for those of you who don't know, very quick side thing. What you do is you get like a toasted sub roll. You get some ribeye steak and you shred it up. You can, if you get good ribeye steak, you can just pull it apart because it's got a lot of fat content kind of slipping through it, which is very tasty. You cook that up with some onions. You dump a bunch of garlic mayo on one side of like the hot dog bun that you split down the top of the middle. And then you put some butter on the other side, and then you dump the cooked steak in it, and then you put a bunch of mature cheddar, like thinly grated cheese on top, and it melts, and it's fucking gorgeous. Because you were like, hey, I've been looking at Philly cheesesteaks. They look pretty good. And I was like, do you want me to make you some? And you were like, yeah. So I made some, and yeah, they're fucking delicious, and I can recommend.
I'm sure anyone from Philadelphia will say, that's not a Philly cheesesteak.
And we're not going to listen to you because they're like New Yorkers and hot dogs. You don't know what's best for you.
This is what the internet told us how to make one.
Ketchup go on hot dog. I'm going to get so much hate for that, and I deserve it.
Anyway, here we got another one. What's everyone's weird favourite paint? Like one you can't get enough of and will use on any occasion. There's our Squid Pink and Wazdaka Red.
Good choices.
There's
a Vallejo pink I've got that's really
this crazy vibrant
kind of like a baby pink, and I use that for some of my Tyranids, and that's just any chance I get, I want to use it. It's so pretty.
I mean, it's not weird because I paint Lamenters, but I do really, really enjoy Avalon Sunset. It's like, I never used to like painting yellow, but then I started using Avalon Sunset, and it's got such nice coverage, and it's like a slightly not quite as harsh yellow to it, and it means that it's a really nice base to highlight and wash, like, because I wash using Reichland Flesh Shade. Yeah. To give it like a real reddy undertone, and I just think that pops really nicely.
Without making it look dirty, because if you use the Agrax, then it would look dirty.
Yeah, it looks dirty.
Which is fine, but like if you're just doing it for shade, then yeah.
And contrast paints, I don't think it'd work great on Rogue Trader miniatures because there's too many casting errors on them.
Yeah, very much so.
It'd show them all up.
What about you?
Pass, I'm afraid.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's been a while
say
since
emulsion.
It's a bit, yeah.
I did actually pick up some fun paints the other day because we went to Element Games in Nottingham, which we'd not actually been to before somehow.
They smelled of fish and chips. Very English company.
But it was full. They had a massive array of like different companies' paints, so I picked up a handful, including some of like the color shifting paints. And I'm currently desperately seeking something to use them on because I've like tested them out a bit. And so I'm really looking forward to. I can't fucking remember what it's called, but I got the like green and gold,
like pearlescent kind of paint.
Oh, sorry, it was like green and purple, Green Stuff World paint. The ones I tried, that was the one that came out the best. Yeah. Even though its paint pot was fucking shite and fucking dumped the entire pot into my palette like the moment I tried to use it. So that was cool. But I managed to save most of the paint.
My cling film saves the day.
So yeah. I want to try that. That may become my weird favorite paint, but I need to experiment with it.
Yeah.
And I want to go in and like buy a bunch more because we tried. What are they called? Turbo Punk, is it?
Yeah.
Tried some of their
metallics
ones that have been quite interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going to be trying some of those. Okay, next question from Denadar.
Hello.
I got some stool softener and now my ottoman has collapsed. What should I do? You are trapped inside a joke and you must wait until the person has finished telling it so that you may escape that fictional universe that has been created. Yeah. You just have to have patience.
Good luck with that, honey.
Dear Castle Super MisanthroPod.
Hi. What?
I am aware of other podcasts existing.
Castle
yes.
Super Beast?
Yeah. What are some of your favourite comfort meals/treats?
Oh. One of my favourite
chocolate.
Pretzel chocolate. I hate that, but that just means you can have more.
Yeah.
I like the interesting mix, the Oreo Cadbury's chocolate.
Ooh, yeah, that's
good. Not the ones with like the layers in it, but with the crumbled up Oreos.
Where it's basically got the internal part of an Oreo mixed in with some crumbled up parts of Oreo inside Cadbury's Dairy Milk chocolate.
The white chocolate or the milk chocolate?
I've currently got a bar of the white chocolate stuff because I fancied a change, but the milk chocolate stuff is probably the nicer one.
Okay. I'd say cheesecake, like strawberry or chocolate cheesecake. Ultimate comfort. Like I tend to lean like.
Sorry, this is from Tyler S. I should have mentioned.
Thank you, Tyler, for the good question. But yeah, no, I tend to lean on like baked goods for like comfort, like kind of treats and stuff. I really like to go ham on those. And for like comfort food, I mean, I remember before I made it for you, Drummer Matt, the really thick, like really like slow cooked beef stew with milk and buttery mashed potatoes. Which is such an amazing, like, winter meal. It keeps you full and warm for hours. But other than that, say something new, I would say house chow mein, which has shrimp, beef, pork, and chicken in it. Which is very nice and tasty.
Okay.
Also, one thing I'm desperate for, and if any Australians are listening, please send me this when the PO box opens again, if you want. Chocolate, like milk chocolate covered black licorice. That's an Australian staple, and I fucking miss it so hard. And I found a place that was selling it, but then they stopped selling it, and I'm just like, this is a hate crime because I hate it. So yeah.
Okay. Also, Tyler said to answer some questions from previous episodes that Snipe had asked, which is their favourite dinosaur is Therizinosaurus.
Oh, nice.
Probably pronounced that wrong since I've never said it out loud.
Yeah, you're.
And their favourite ice cream is Good Humour Strawberry Shortcake.
That sounds
apparently human.
One of my favourite ice creams that I can't get and I haven't had in over 20 years is a Golden Gay Time. It's hard to have a gay time on your own.
I mean,
it's an Australian ice cream with like honeycomb and like a layer of chocolate and like little like crunchy bits of nuts on it, and they're so fucking good.
Can't have a gay time without some nuts.
Yes, you can.
You can 100%.
You're like,
yes.
Fucking, what is wrong with you? Yes, of course you can. You just gotta suck them all off. Oh my god. You know when you say something, I don't need. Yeah, everyone knows that that's kind of my MO. I say something and immediately regret it because I wasn't paying attention to what I was saying.
Anyway. Goth has asked us the best butt in the media property that you're currently fixated on. Considering that I am currently watching Columbo and there's only really one. Okay, there's Columbo and his dog are about the only two characters that are frequently in the show. I feel like I by default have to say Peter Falk's arse, even though you very rarely see it because of his coat.
Well,
but I am forced into that.
That's because he's like demure and he's like, you just have one more peek at my butt.
Yeah. So what for the pair of you?
What am I currently fixated on?
I mean, Far Cry 6, I guess.
Far Cry 6. Oh, Guapo. Guapo's big crocodilian bim.
Okay. And Matthew?
We've been watching Succession, and the biggest bum there would be Shiv's, who's one of the three siblings, because she's got quite a large bum and boobs, which are very present in a lot of the episodes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so she's not like going to flip over and discover perpetual.
That is actually one of the nice things about the show. Actually, is that she's not like stick thin rich person.
Oh, okay.
Which is quite nice.
It is nice to have kind of like, diversified body types just for a fucking change. It's like, because these people exist.
Just because people, whether they are
Everyone's
good or bad,
shape,
have a variety of shapes. And it's nice to see the rich tapestry of humanity represented in our media.
Mm-hmm.
The next question is a very complex one, and I'm going to give you some time to answer this.
Okay.
Which is from Scott Anderson,
Hello.
which is cum?
as you are, as you were, as you wanted to be. On a friend, with a friend, round a bend.
We'll move past that, considering that was not a real question. Okay, so from Salamander, how into kit bashing are Snipe and Drummer Matt compared to Wib, who has reams of evidence to show us just how into it he is?
Stop talking about my husband's reams. I'm just not. I'm not good at it, so I just don't do it.
You do it occasionally.
Not really. Not to the level that you do.
You do the odd head swap and things like that.
Yeah, head swap. I wouldn't consider that full kit bashing. I wouldn't consider it not, but like that's about the extent. Like maybe different weapons, different arms, different heads. Nothing.
Yeah, you do it from time to time.
Yeah, not very often. I'm quite happy with what I'm given. Drummer Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, if I had more time, I'd love to do it more. It's a time, especially to do it half decently. I did my broadsides slightly different.
Yeah, those were very cool.
Yeah, your broadsides were effectively like in the format that the modern broadsides are now in. Visionary. But you did it years before they came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the concept was there. I'm not sure the execution was.
I thought the execution was really good.
I legit forgot that broadsides didn't hold their guns like sniper rifles for the longest time because I always played against your Tau, and that's just how they looked. I'm like, that's just how broadsides look.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, next question.
Which is, as a lead on from that is, what is everyone's favourite model they have kit bashed?
Probably my my Wolf Guard.
Which model are you thinking about?
My tech, my wolf, my Iron Priest. There we go. Fucking, it's been so long.
I think you're thinking of something different. You didn't kit bash your Iron Priest.
Yeah, I did. I gave her a different head and... No? Oh, I don't fucking know.
You're thinking of the Space Marine Heroes Terminator that you kit bashed into a Wolfguard battle leader.
That's the one I'm thinking. Thank you. I'm exhausted, so I'm having trouble remembering. But yeah, no, that one, what he said. What about you, dear?
For me, I don't know. I have done a lot over the years.
Pick one off the top of your head.
My Red Gobbo's probably up there.
He's pretty cool.
I really like my Red Gobbo. It won the best. Yes, it has won a best converted at the Red Gobbo painting competition.
All right.
At my local Games Workshop.
We've all won the Gobbo conversion thing at your local Games Workshop. You're not special. What about Drumbly Bums?
Yeah.
I mean, see above broadsides.
Yeah. Fair.
No, they were really good. So I cannot argue with that. Just give me 1 second to check if another question came in since I started asking them. And no, that's the question. That's it.
I have a question.
You have a question?
I immediately forgot my question.
Okay.
Can you remember what question I was going to ask?
I cannot.
Ah.
Okay. So are we done? Do we have any other order of business before we wrap up?
No.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you everybody for sending those questions. You can send them to the email if you want.
If you're a good person who likes things that are nice. If you don't want Shisharon to come to your house and bite you.
The people who send us questions via email are our favourites. I don't mean to play favourites, but they are definitely the superior ones.
You said it.
But yeah, so
thank you very, very much for listening. I'm gonna go to bed now. I'm a sleepy bitch.
I spent most of the day sleeping, so I am gonna go and paint some miniatures
and watch Columbo.
I was actually going to listen to some podcasts.
Wow, that's lame.
Media
made within the past 30 years. Fucking hipster.
Yeah, I know. Listen to some podcasts and not edit the one I just recorded.
Yeah.
Obstinately.
Drummer Matt, tell us what you're going to do.
I'm going to go to bed.
Okay, make something up that's exciting.
Gonna
jump out a window. What the fuck? I was going to say it, but I thought it'd be really creepy. Yeah. And now I'm just imagining you being like...
Don't imagine it.
No. Because I was like, I'll just make something up, and I thought you were going to jump out a window. And now you're like, I'll have a wank, and I'm like, don't do that while jumping out a window. It's very dangerous.
That would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, so you got to it's like a danger wank, but like a life-threatening danger wank. where okay,
you leap out the window and you got to finish before you hit the ground, so you can put it away so that the paramedics don't find you cock in hand, because that would be very embarrassing.
I remember once I was like 16 and I used the term danger. I can't remember what I said. I said something like, "Oh, do you want to go to see Auntie Linda?" And I was like, "Yeah, about as much as a danger wank." And my dad went, "I don't understand. What's a danger wank?" And I went, "Well, that's where you have a wank and you shout your mum or dad, and you got to finish before they get there." And he looked at me and went, "That's very sick." And I was like, I didn't fucking come up with it. And it's obviously just an absurdist statement that only like the most deranged psychopaths have ever done. But no, he just thought I was being a real weirdo. And I'm like, look, just because it's a thing, and it's like, that's...
It reminds me of
I
that
explained the joke to him because he's a dumbass, and it made it funnier because I explained it.
It reminds me of when you do like a colourful metaphor, like, oh... This thing hurts like getting slapped on the end of a dick by a ruler, and like you'll say something like that. That's obviously like
detention was hard at private school.
You are making up a colourful like metaphor for something, and then someone goes, "Oh well, how do you know that? Has that happened to you?" And you're like, "Obviously not."
It's like, do I have to explain hyperbole to you?
It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Don't take it that seriously.
You do realise that now you voice that everyone's going to be like, "Oh, weird. Well, how do you know what living in a house with Snipe is like?" And you're going to be like, I don't want to talk about it.
Do not mock my reality.
Don't fucking hell. You say that to your therapist earlier. It's like, so what are your main, what is it? Brick walls to becoming well? Well... I'll send you a link to my podcast. I'm married to that one.
Oh, what is the main issues with your mental health? I'm like, well, Robots. I'm a YouTuber, and they go, and the therapist just goes quiet for a second and goes, "You sicken me." I'm like, yeah, that's
you
fair.
Deserve your anguish, and you're like, yeah, that's fair.
I joke. I've said this before. In my experience, therapists are very, very good at understanding and empathizing with the unique position that you end up with as being a content creator in current year, and the weird pressures that puts on your brain and mental state that are both very silly to talk about, but also
very emotionally damaging.
Really do fuck with you over a long stretch of time.
It's really cool.
I've only had good experiences myself.
Yeah,
in that instance.
But we should let everyone go now. And Drummer Matt needs to have that danger wank.
Yeah, out the window. A defenestrank.
Defenestration?
Defenestrabation.
Defenestrabation.
It's all over.
Yep, there we go.
Yep.
There we go.
Have you finished already? Fuck, dude.
Fuck.
And then we just hear like a smack.
Now we know how Matt's kids were conceived. Quickly.
And with bungee cords. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to the podcast, everybody.
Sorry.
Say hi to your therapists for us. And take care, and we will catch you in the next podcast.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Put it away, Matt.